Chapter 203. The scene was so silent that one could hear a pin drop. Bing Ling paid the money and brought the girls to rest in the back room before returning. Senior Ling coughed a few times and continued with the auction. However, compared to before, very few of the demons present were agitated. The harmonious spirit cultivators and some of the gold core realm cultivators sighed and left with cupped fists. The next item to be auctioned was a female cultivator above the late stage of gold core realm. A female cultivator like this would be the ruler of a low-ranked cultivation country. Their prices would be sky-high, and normal cultivators wouldn't be able to participate. Each and every one of the nascent soul realm cultivators were finally rubbing their palms. They were the main characters in the upcoming auction. However, the moment the old monsters thought of Zhou Ming, who was unfathomable and had thousands of women every day, their scalps went numb as they prayed in their hearts. I hope that Zhou Ming won't be interested in these female cultivators and won't fight with them anymore. However, they also understood that the possibility of this happening was very small. How could a lecherous devil who didn't even let go of a harmonious spirit realm or a 7 or 8-year-old girl would miss a cauldron that was above the late gold core realm? Many old monsters even guessed that Zhou Ming was killing so many people because he wanted to gather money to buy a woman. Over 100 million immortal jades were all used on women. This Zhou Ming's cultivation might not be the highest in the outer endless sea, but his lecherous heart. I'm afraid even a spirit-severing realm cultivator would not be able to match him. This cauldron has a bone age of 200 years. She is at the late gold core realm. She has the maiden life yang physique. The starting price is 100,000 immortal jade. As soon as Elder Ling finished his sentence, it was like a drop of water falling into boiling oil, causing everyone to fight for it. 110,000. I'll pay 120,000. 140,000. 170,000. 200,000. 300,000. 400,000. The price reached 400,000 and couldn't go any higher. The dust seemed to have settled. A middle-stage nascent soul old monster flew out from the earth room, ready to pay the money on the auction stage. However, at this moment, Bing Ling, who was dressed in white, quietly walked out of the room and spoke indifferently. The middle-stage nascent soul realm old monster's feet were nailed to the sky, and his face alternated between green and red. My master offered 410,000 immortal jade to buy this cauldron. After that, all the late and peak gold core stage cauldrons will be purchased at twice the starting price. Fellow Taoists, please don't compete with him. His words caused an uproar. What? This person bought 1,000 human cauldrons and still had money left to buy human cauldrons at the late and peak Jindan stage. You have to know that there are dozens of human cauldrons in this batch. Buying all of them at double the price would cost tens of millions of immortal jades. It can't be wrong. This person is that person. However, that Qing Huazi is truly disgraced this time. He was about to hand over the money, but his cauldron was snatched away. He must be dissatisfied. This Qing Huazi is also the pavilion master of the North Pavilion of the Windsword Pavilion, one of the 10 sections. He is usually a proud and arrogant person. I wonder if he will continue to increase the price and compete with that person. I'm afraid Qing Huazi wouldn't dare. Even though it's only a guess, but if that person is really Zhou Ming, then fighting with him would be akin to playing with one's life. One by one, the old monsters sighed incessantly. Qing Huazi's gaze descended fiercely onto the 7th room, and he gritted his teeth before snorting coldly before returning to his room. He did not compete with Ning Fan for the human cauldron. Almost all the nascent soul realm cultivators remained silent, as if they were silently agreeing. Ning Fan was asking for an exorbitant price. He alone bought all the late gold core realm and peak gold core realm human cauldrons. In other words, all the human cauldrons below the nascent soul realm in the auction of the Pill Cauldron Gate had fallen into his pocket. Dissatisfied. Many of the old monsters were dissatisfied, but when they thought of the name Zhou Ming, even if it was just a guess, no one was willing to offend that person. On the contrary, the 3 peak nascent soul realm cultivators unexpectedly flattered Ning Fan again. Fellow Taoist is truly elegant. You are able to throw away millions of immortal jades for a beauty without batting an eyelid. I admire you, admire my ass. I'm just flattering him, but it's very unusual that this person could make the peak nascent soul realm cultivators flatter him twice. Qing Huazi was also concerned about this. That was why he suppressed his anger and the ridicule of the crowd and returned to his room. Otherwise, given his bad temper, he would have drawn his sword and fought Ning Fan to the death. Old Ling let out a hollow laugh. It was unprecedented for a person to monopolize the auction. He did not dare to make a decision on his own, so he secretly transmitted his voice to old ancestor Xiao Wanluo to seek his opinion. A moment later, as if he had received the order, he chuckled and announced, Old ancestor Xiao has agreed to sell 87 late gold core realm and peak gold core realm human cauldrons to fellow Taoist for a total of 57 million immortal jades. Fellow Taoist can pay the money now, and Bing Air, go and pay. An unusually young voice was heard from the room. It was cold and indifferent. That kind of coldness was definitely not an act. It was the coldness that was common in the Blood Sea. The voice did not use any magical power. But as soon as it was heard, the hearts of all the cultivators in the room thumped and their bodies trembled. Such a strong evil qi. This person is indeed Zhou Ming. Bing Ling paid the money and led the 87 delicate women to the back of the room. She sighed along the way. Each of these 87 women would be an old ancestor in Yu country. But in this place, their fates would be decided by their master and they would become his human cauldrons. Master is getting more and more powerful. All of you must listen to my master. Bing Ling said indifferently. Even though she was an intermediate gold core realm cultivator, none of the female cultivators dared to ignore her words. Yes. One by one, the women spoke respectfully. They could tell that the person who bought them, Mo Xiao, was an extremely terrifying existence. He could make all the nascent soul realm cultivators in the room fall silent. He could make the Pill Cauldron Gate change the rules of the auction just for one person. After a long time, Bing Ling returned and the auction continued. The atmosphere was extremely tense and awkward. Next up was the auction of the nascent soul realm human cauldrons. There were only 2 nascent soul realm human cauldrons. They were not sure if this Zhou Ming would still fight for them. If he were to fight for them, would they still fight for them? Would they fight for them with their lives? Hopefully he would stop while he was ahead. Hopefully, this must be the most concise auction that Old Ling had ever hosted in his life. Before the auction of the nascent soul realm human cauldrons, almost everything was decided by that mysterious man. He swallowed his saliva and tried his best to calm himself down. He laughed and said, Next up is the nascent soul realm human cauldrons that all of you have been waiting for. These 2 women are the first batch of female cultivators in the Pill Cauldron Gate to break through the nascent soul realm in the past 50 years. Moreover, they have the best body constitution for human cauldrons. The starting price is 3 million. As soon as Old Ling finished his words, the whole place became strangely quiet. Not a single person was bidding. They were waiting for Ning Fan to no longer want these human cauldrons. Only then did they dare to bid for them. 301 million. Finally, an unusually young voice was heard. All of the old experts revealed an extremely disappointed expression. This lecherous devil, Zhou Ming. He still reached out to Ning Fan. It was just a 10,000 immortal jade increment, but this 10,000 immortal jade. None of the old experts dared to cross the line. This time, even the 3 peak nascent soul realm experts could not laugh or flatter Ning Fan anymore. All of them were sighing in despair. They did not dare to compete with Ning Fan for the human cauldrons. But they really wanted it. They really wanted it. They had been waiting for 50 years for this auction. This. Old Ling smiled bitterly. The nascent soul realm human cauldron was only sold for 301 million immortal jade. This was the hammer that would decide the winner. Should he knock it or not? He did not dare to make a decision. Even Xiao Wanluo, who was hiding in the dark, had a bitter expression on his face. Big brother Zhou Ming, please do me a favor. You can be domineering and kill people, but you should at least leave enough money for me to escape. You can't cheat me like this. You only added 10,000 immortal jade for a nascent soul realm human cauldron. 10,000 immortal jade. It's useless. After deducting the cultivation cost, it meant that he did not earn a single copper coin from this nascent soul realm human cauldron. Silence. But the voice of a young man could be heard in the silence. It was the first time. I heard that your sect is auctioning a nascent soul realm Dao fruit. I want it for 5.01 million immortal jade. The eyes of the two nascent soul cultivators on the stage lit up at the same time. They were the buyer of the two women. He was a domineering young devil lord who made the group of devils silent. He was really admirable. However, the other male devils did not have the same mood as the two women. Puff! Xiao Wanluo spurted out a mouthful of blood and his face was gray. Even the old experts in the nascent soul realm pavilion were in an uproar. Nascent soul realm Dao fruit. This lecherous devil, Zhou Ming, wanted to buy the Dao fruit as well. Qing Huazi could not hold it anymore. He drew his sword and was about to fight Ning Fan. The Dao fruit that Ning Fan had chosen without even showing his face was something that the spirit-severing realm old ancestor of his sect wanted personally. He himself had come to buy a human cauldron. If the human cauldron didn't want it, he would accept it. However, the Dao fruit was something the patriarch wanted. The patriarch was a soul formation cultivator, so Zhou Ming had to give him face. However, just as he unsheathed his sword and before he could rush out of the side room, a group of uninvited guests arrived at the Pill Cauldron School. A strange change suddenly occurred. A dense crowd of people surrounded the Pill Cauldron School. 17 black-robed men, with a sudden sound, rushed into the auction house. All 17 of them were nascent soul cultivators. 11 early stage, 4 mid-stage, 1 late stage and 1 grand cultivator. Immediately, someone recognized that this group of people were from the Xiang family of the Outer Endless Sea. Then, someone recalled that the younger brother of the Xiang clan's ancestor, a certain nascent soul realm old monster, had died in Zhou Ming's hands. He was one of the 12 nascent soul realm cultivators. Were these people here to seek revenge on Zhou Ming? No, it doesn't look like it. This group of people all stared at Senior Ling. They didn't know that Zhou Ming was here. Perhaps, they thought that Zhou Ming had run away after killing someone and robbing the Dao fruit. Perhaps, they came to Penglai at night to punish the Pill Cauldron School. However, this punishment was probably just an excuse. The ancestor of the Xiang clan, the grand cultivator Xiang Liao, wanted to use this excuse to destroy the Pill Cauldron School. He wanted to ruin the auction by taking away the cauldron and the Dao fruit. Ling Giku, ask Xiao Wanluo to come out. You are not qualified. My younger brother died in the killing zone of your Pill Cauldron School. It's really hateful. Your Pill Cauldron School must take responsibility for this. Compensation. Old Ancestor Xiang, please calm down. My old ancestor. Senior Ling smiled apologetically. Get lost. Xiang Liao harumphed coldly. His voice seemed to have merged with the sky. With just a harumph, Senior Ling was forced to retreat more than 10 steps before he could stabilize his body. His injuries were aggravated, causing him to spurt out a mouthful of blood. This old man will say it again. Ling Giku, you are not qualified. You are just a member of a small sect from a low-grade cultivation country. If it wasn't for Xiao Wanluo, this old man would have already skinned you alive. Xiao Wanluo, come out. Xiang Liao would never have thought that Zhou Ming was here. As for Xiao Wanluo, he was currently coughing out blood and fainting due to anger. How could he have the mood to deal with Xiang Liao? Xiao Wanluo did not come out. The sect master and vice-sect master of the Pill Cauldron School came out with apologetic smiles. However, Xiang Liao's expression turned gloomy. He finally lost his patience. Xiao Wanluo, this old man asked you to come out. Didn't you hear me? Good. Very good. My friends, I'm sorry for interrupting your auction. Today, my Xiang clan will trample the Pill Cauldron School to the ground. Devil Sound Technique, Wu Zhang's Wrath. Xiang Liao had white hair and a stocky build. He pounded on his chest and opened his eyes wide. He looked like a human emperor who was at the end of his rope and was enraged. His anger was enhanced by the divine ability that merged with the sky. After that, The roar turned into a sound wave-type magical technique and swept towards the sect master and vice-sect master. Nascent realm high-grade magical technique, devil sound technique, Wu Zhang's wrath. The angry roar trembled and turned into a solid black halo. It blasted on the sect master and vice-sect master. The two early nascent soul realm experts were sent flying with just a single blow. Severe injuries. The sound wave swept towards Old Ling. However, at this moment, a white-clothed and black-cloaked figure walked out of the room lightly. With a flash of gray light, the figure instantly appeared in front of Old Ling and said indifferently, "Break." With a single word, clear sky thunder. Under the reverberation of the thunder, the black halo formed by the devil sound technique was shattered layer by layer. When the cracks reached Xiang Liao, they turned into thunder and exploded. Xiang Liao's heart trembled violently. He let out a muffled groan and took a few steps back before he could stabilize his body. His facial expression changed drastically. His devil sound technique was the hardest to defend against. However, it was easily shattered by this skinny young man in front of him with just a single word. That word was not made with any special technique. It was just a sound that merged with the sky and the sky merged with the thunder. However, that sound was incomparable to his devil sound technique. "Brat, who are you? How dare you interfere in the matter between me and the Pill Cauldron School? Do you know what kind of status my Xiang clan has in the external endless sea? A mere early nascent soul realm cultivator dares to interfere in the matter of my Xiang clan. Who do you think you are? You're dead meat." Xiang Liao's eyes turned gloomy. He wanted to kill Old Ling to establish his prestige. "Speak. What's your name? If you don't have any background that I'm afraid of, then you can die now." "Is that so?" Ning Fan revealed a mocking expression. The reason why he saved Xiang Liao had nothing to do with righteousness or giving face to the Pill Cauldron School. As for Xiang Liao, he was nothing in his eyes. "My name is Zhou Ming. Zhou Ming. Zhou Ming. Zhou Ming." The two words were like a clap of thunder, causing Xiang Liao's divine sense to tremble violently, causing his previously arrogant expression to turn into one of terror. This person was actually Zhou Ming. Could he be the crazy devil Zhou Ming who killed my younger brother and slaughtered peak realm cultivators? I can't be wrong. This person's evil chi was so strong and his blood had not dried yet. His means were outstanding and his eyes were cold. But his cultivation base was early nascent soul realm. How could this be? "Thank you." Old Ling cupped his fists at the young man. He had never thought that this young man whom he had never met before would save him. "You're welcome. I'm revered weeping. Ling Giku of Sinister Sparrow Sect." Chapter 204. Xiang Liao's face was unusually gloomy as he stared at the young man who had quietly appeared like a ghost. His gloominess contained a trace of well-hidden fear. "This person is the murderer who killed my brother. The devil who can even kill a grand cultivator. Why was this person here?" However, this person was indeed an early nascent soul cultivator. Could he really kill a peak nascent soul cultivator? He didn't hide his evil aura at all. The moment he appeared, all the nascent soul cultivators of the Xiang family felt their hearts tremble. Even Xiang Liao was secretly shocked. He had killed countless people in his life, but he was only on par with Zhou Ming. Apprehension, solemnity, but after thinking for a while, Xiang Liao sneered. So what if this person could really kill Luo Fei? Jiang Yi also possessed the strength to kill Luo Fei. No one knew that Xiang Liao had reached the bottleneck of the divine transformation realm. No one knew that this time, he had used the excuse of destroying the sect to seize the cauldron and the Dao fruit in preparation for breaking through to the soul formation stage. Once he broke through to the divine transformation realm, there would be 10 divine transformation realm cultivators from the 10 sects, 3 rogue cultivators and Xiang Liao. The Xiang clan would become a top force and dominate the outer endless sea. At least on this point, Zhou Ming couldn't compare to Xiang Liao. He, Xiang Liao, was a grand cultivator who was about to reach the soul formation stage. "Are you sure you want to stand up for Danding School? You killed my brother, and I haven't even settled the score with you yet, but you actually dare to stand up for the pill cauldron school? Ha, ridiculous. Do you think my Xiang family is weak and easy to bully? One had to know that if one did not know what was good for them, they would be courting death in the outer endless seas. If you know what's good for you, then scram. Xiang Liao no longer put Ning Fan in his eyes. You alone aren't enough. Ning Fan sneered. Courting death. Xiang Liao was enraged. He took a large stride forward, his beard and hair were like silver, his gaze was imposing, and the origin energy around him was in a frenzy, making him seem like a god. At the instant his aura spread out, it caused the atmosphere in the auction hall to become oppressive and suffocating. It was as if they were being suppressed by the power of the world. Anyone with a bit of insight would have their expressions change drastically. Xiang Liao's aura had already reached the realm of aura in the heart. In other words, Xiang Liao had reached the bottleneck of the soul formation stage. Rather than calling him a grand cultivator, it would be more accurate to call him a half-step divine transformation realm cultivator. He strode forward with arrogant steps. It was as if he was stepping on everyone's Tao heart, causing a loud explosion. At the same time, the other 16 nascent soul realm cultivators of the Xiang clan took out all of their magic treasures and attacked Ning Fan. After their old ancestors' killing intent was triggered, they tried to launch a joint attack to kill Ning Fan. Xiang Liao, in particular, opened his mouth and spat out 9 blood-red cauldrons, which soared into the sky. Each cauldron had the might of a superior supreme-grade cauldron. Its suppressive might was like the collapse of Mount Tai, unparalleled. All the golden core cultivators present vomited blood after being shaken by the giant cauldron. His complexion changed greatly. He was already injured. Just the shockwaves of the battle caused his qi and blood to be thrown into chaos. His injuries were not light, and he immediately left. How could he still have the mood to participate in the auction? Zhou Ming was indeed powerful, but Xiang Liao seemed to be even more powerful than Zhou Ming. If the 9 cauldrons were to fall down, 1,000 miles of oasis would be destroyed. It would be directly flattened. Only the nascent soul cultivators dared to continue staying, but all of them had Dharma treasures to protect themselves. They were also weighing the battle for the position of Zhou Xiang and guessing the outcome. In their opinion, Zhou Ming would definitely lose. After all, Xiang Liao was already a half-step spirit-severing realm expert. His magic power was probably at least 5,000 units, which was definitely not something an ordinary grand cultivator could compare to. The origin of the 9 cauldrons was even more mysterious. However, it would be difficult for Xiang Liao to kill Zhou Ming. Zhou Ming was not Xiang Liao's match, so he should be able to run away. The best outcome would be Zhou Ming risking his life and injuring the Xiang clan, but he himself would be severely injured. At that time, the 70 nascent soul realm cultivators present would be able to reap the benefits without doing anything. They were anticipating Zhou Ming's defeat. However, the result was out of their expectations in just a few moments, shattering their thoughts of taking advantage of the situation. At the moment when the cultivators of the Xiang clan made their move, Ning Fan also moved. He took a step forward and teleported 9 steps like a shadow. Each of his steps felt like he was stepping on the great Tao of heaven and earth, causing the oasis within 1,000 miles to tremble. When he took the 9th step, a sword of great momentum that was as powerful as the clouds shook violently. The sword qi wreaked havoc and shattered Xiang Liao's half-step spirit severing realm aura force. The so-called half-step spirit severing realm aura force was not worth mentioning in his eyes. The 11 early nascent soul realm cultivators of the Xiang clan were caught off guard. In just one move, they were all severely injured by the sword of great momentum. They coughed out blood and fell to the ground. As for the 4 mid-nascent soul realm cultivators and 1 late nascent soul realm cultivators, even though they were not severely injured, they were barely able to block the sword force with their techniques. Under their combined efforts, they were barely able to protect themselves. However, all of them were in a sorry state. Their besieging Ning Fan was also forced to stop. Each of the old monsters of the Xiang clan who were usually arrogant were shocked. As for Xiang Liao, his eyes were filled with astonishment. He was a half-step spirit-severing realm cultivator, and he could only comprehend the momentum of heaven and earth. It was absolutely impossible for him to turn his momentum into a sword. He did not expect that Zhou Ming could actually form a sword with 9 steps. He had only seen such a technique in the hands of a spirit-severing realm cultivator. His eyes were filled with jealousy and hatred. He was jealous of the fact that Ning Fan was able to display a spirit-severing realm technique even though he was just an early nascent soul realm cultivator. This jealousy and hatred could not escape Ning Fan's detection. Cold light flashed in his eyes. The lightning star moved and a trace of blood lightning flashed in Xiang Liao's eyes like the heavenly might. Xiang Liao felt pain in his eyes and the attack of the 9 cauldrons stopped for a moment. After dispersing the lightning, Ning Fan was already holding a long whip in his hand. The blood lightning whip was in his hand. It was as if what he was holding was not a long whip but a lightning bolt that filled the sky. It was as if he was no longer Ning Fan but the Lord of Lightning Punishment. The whip was as fast as lightning and it landed on the 9 cauldrons. Clear sky thunder. The 9 cauldrons were as heavy as a mountain. However, the lightning whip carried the heavenly might. It was the blood lightning of the heavenly tribulation. So what if it was a treasure of the 9 cauldrons? This treasure was an imitation of the 9 cauldrons, a supreme immortal treasure. However, in Ning Fan's eyes, the refinement of this treasure was full of loopholes. In his immortal emperor's eyes, even though the grade of the 9 cauldrons was high, there were still a lot of flaws. It was not difficult for him to break them. He blindly pursued the grade of the magic treasure and recklessly added extra spiritual ores into the 9 cauldrons. It was really a joke. Break for me. 1 whip produced lightning. 9 whips broke the cauldrons. In a split second, 9 whips landed on the 9 cauldrons with a thunderous sound. The power of the whips stopped the falling momentum of the 9 cauldrons and pulled them back to the sky. The 9 whips accurately landed on the flaws of the 9 cauldrons. After the 9 whips passed, countless cracks appeared on the 9 cauldrons. The spirituality of the 9 cauldrons was greatly reduced. In an instant, they exploded. The 9 cauldrons were broken. Xiang Liao's face was filled with shock. The 9 high-grade magical treasures, the 9 cauldrons, were easily broken by the whip of the young man in front of him. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. His long whip was only a mid-grade magical treasure. It was not a peak-grade magical treasure. How could it have such power? There was no time to think about it. Something that Xiang Liao did not expect had happened. When the 9 cauldrons were broken, the 9 blood-red lightning bolts seemed to be possessed by evil spirits. They appeared out of nowhere from Xiang Liao's dantian and immediately landed on his nascent soul with a loud bang. In an instant, Xiang Liao's body was surrounded by cold sweat. Chills ran down his spine and his hair stood on end. His nascent soul was carefully protected by the nascent soul protective armor. However, the armor could only block one of the blood-red lightning bolts before it was destroyed. The remaining 8 bolts continued to strike on his nascent soul. The nascent soul's face was the same as Xiang Liao's. It immediately revealed a terrified expression. What kind of lightning is this? Even a peak Jade Xian spiritual armor could not block it. This is a secret technique to attack the nascent soul. This is the unique lightning technique of the Zhou clan. You are indeed a member of the Zhou clan. Damn it. Damn it. My nascent soul is half a step away from becoming a true god. Even the lightning of the Zhou clan is not possible. His nascent soul started to turn illusory. It had merged with the power of the nascent soul and was on the verge of shattering. The formless nascent soul had a defense that was 100 times stronger than other nascent soul cultivators. This was the secret lightning technique of the Zhou clan's nascent soul. He was not afraid of attacking his nascent soul. However, he did not expect the blood-red lightning to strike him. A single blood-red lightning had caused his nascent soul to tremble. It was seriously injured and he coughed out a mouthful of golden nascent soul blood. His chi was greatly weakened. Xiang Liao hurriedly retreated and used the momentum to block the blood-red lightning. However, before he could stabilize himself, the second blood-red lightning struck him. Every time the blood-red lightning struck his nascent soul, he would take a few steps back and his injuries would worsen. After the 8th lightning, his face was as pale as a sheet of paper. He coughed out blood nonstop. He was seriously injured. He was shocked. This blood-red lightning whip was even more powerful and brutal than the rumored secret technique of the Zhou clan to attack the nascent soul. What kind of lightning is that? It's not a magical lightning. It's like a lightning that was forcefully snatched from the heavenly tribulation. Heavenly tribulation. When Xiang Liao thought of these two words, he seemed to have understood something and took a deep breath. He finally understood. The reason why Zhou Ming's lightning whip was so powerful was because it was refined from the lightning of the heavenly tribulation. Ordinary cultivators would be extremely cautious when they went through the heavenly tribulation. They would either hide it from the heavenly tribulation or resist it according to the heavenly tribulation. However, Zhou Ming went through the heavenly tribulation with brute force and used the lightning as a sacrifice. A devil cultivator. A true devil cultivator that only existed in the ancient times. He was a cultivator of the true devil Dao who defied the heavens to cultivate. At this moment, Xiang Liao no longer had any arrogance left. In just a moment, he had already regarded Ning Fan as his greatest enemy and he would never be able to defeat him. In front of Ning Fan, all of his pride became worthless. Extracting the heavenly tribulation and controlling the lightning punishment. This man is not someone I can afford to offend. Let's attack together. He ordered in a slightly panicked manner. He wanted his subordinates to surround Ning Fan while he took the opportunity to retreat. However, the 16 nascent soul realm cultivators of the Xiang clan stood still like wooden puppets. They ignored his order. Freeze! Ning Fan raised his finger and pointed at them. A gray light flashed on the tip of his finger and ripples spread out. It was as if countless lines of Dao laws had been born, freezing all the nascent soul realm cultivators of the Xiang clan. To Xiang Liao's horror, he felt as if he was bound by countless gray lines that were hard to be seen by the naked eye. His body was also frozen by Ning Fan. Even if he exerted all of his magic power to break free, he would need at least one breath to break free from this technique. If he wanted to break free immediately, he would have to injure himself. While everyone was frozen, Ning Fan changed his whip into a sword and slashed the separation slash, forming a circle in front of him. The circle was like the will of the heavens. With a smooth stroke, the sword aura suddenly took shape. A mysterious force flashed on the tip of the separation slash. At the same time, all the cultivators including Xiang Liao felt a sharp pain in their hearts and they were crushed. This was the 4th sword, the heart-drawing sword. As their hearts were crushed, a mysterious sword light pierced through their hearts and pierced through their bodies. It carried the might of a peak nascent realm sword technique. 11 early nascent soul realm cultivators and 4 middle nascent soul realm cultivators of the Xiang clan were crushed into pieces. They couldn't resist it and exploded into blood mist. Even their nascent souls died. That late nascent soul realm cultivator managed to escape from the sword light by sacrificing his own body. However, when Ning Fan threw the separation slash, the starlight sword shadow was like a maggot attached to a bone. In an instant, it pierced through the nascent soul realm cultivator's nascent soul realm cultivator. The sword shadow flew back and was caught by the nascent soul realm cultivator. 15 dead and 1 captured. Xiang Liao bit the tip of his tongue and broke the body-fixing technique at the cost of hurting himself. He survived the attack of the heart-drawing sword. A nascent soul realm cultivator could still survive even without a heart. A nascent soul realm cultivator's heart was still full of vigor even if it was severely injured. However, there wasn't a trace of relief on his face. It was full of shock and fear. His white hair was dyed with blood and he looked as miserable as a stray dog. His eyes were wide open. He was as frightened as a panicking snake. All of them were dead. The experts of the Xiang clan that he brought with him were all dead in less than half a breath. One face-to-face encounter. He killed 16 nascent soul realm cultivators of the Xiang clan and severely injured himself. This Zhou Ming's techniques were unfathomable. The lightning whip that could crush treasures and break nascent souls. The heart-drawing sword technique. This man's techniques were strange and merciless. Below the spirit-severing realm. Who could be his match? If I don't escape now, I won't have the chance anymore. Go. Teleport. Xiang Liao made up his mind. He suddenly cast out a ray of cold light and pierced it towards Ning Fan. Then he immediately teleported away. He knew that Zhou Ming was definitely not a match for him. However, he was conceited. Even a spirit-severing realm cultivator wouldn't be able to kill him, let alone Zhou Ming. At this moment, each of the nascent soul realm old monsters in the auction house were terrified. Xiang Liao, whom they had placed their expectations on, was severely injured by Ning Fan in just one face-to-face encounter. He wasn't a match for Ning Fan at all. Moreover, 15 of the 16 nascent soul realm cultivators of the Xiang clan were killed and one was captured alive. Zhou Ming. This was the mad devil Zhou Ming. When he killed people and snatched their treasures in the Hill of Death. He was also as ruthless as him. Xiang Liao, who had always been extremely arrogant, was actually running away. Ning Fan tried to grab the cold light with his palm. However, the cold light penetrated through his palm and went into his body. It was silent, but it turned into a thin needle and pierced the nascent soul in his dandan. Ning Fan's expression changed. This treasure was very strange. Moreover, there seemed to be a trace of an extremely familiar aura on the cold light. It was as if he had smelled a woman's fragrance somewhere before. The needle was as thin as a hair. No magical power could stop it from piercing the nascent soul. Ning Fan didn't hesitate and activated the yin-yang locket. The locket shook violently and the magical treasure shone brightly. The yin-yang locket was the strongest defense of his nascent soul. Nothing could pierce through an immortal emperor's treasure. At this moment, he saw clearly that the needle that pierced his body was just an inch-long silver needle. An embroidery needle, what a powerful magical treasure. It was just a simple needle, but it was already a high-grade magical treasure. If Ning Fan didn't have the yin-yang locket to protect his nascent soul would have been pierced by this needle. Even if he didn't die, he would still be injured. Moreover, there was a woman's fragrance on the embroidery needle. It was very familiar to Ning Fan. However, he couldn't remember where he saw it. Under the obstruction of the silver needle, Xiang Liao could only teleport away and disappeared without a trace. With Ning Fan's speed, it was unlikely that he could catch up with Ning Fan. Other than spirit-severing realm cultivators, who could catch up with a peak nascent soul realm cultivator? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He took out a stone puppet from his storage pouch and gently tossed it out without attracting anyone's attention. Stone Warrior, bring him back with an intact corpse. Stone Warrior's reply was only heard by Ning Fan. The people in the auction hall were still in a state of shock. Xiang Liao escaped. No one knew that Xiang Liao would be caught by Stone Warrior soon after he escaped. But even then, after an instant of a life-and-death battle, only the sound of gasping remained in the auction hall, and it was to the point a falling needle could be heard. Zhou Ming. This man is so powerful. Even if he didn't kill Xiang Liao, it was more than enough for him to travel unhindered in the external endless sea by injuring a half-step spirit-severing realm cultivator and killing 16 nascent souls. The three great cultivators in the heaven room couldn't calm down. They thought that they didn't underestimate this man's strength. However, it seemed that Zhou Ming's means were still beyond their expectations. Their magical power was far weaker than Xiang Liao's, and their means were also much weaker than Xiang Liao's. If they put themselves in Ning Fan's shoes and were in his shoes, only the slightly stronger great cultivator among the three of them would be able to harm himself and escape like Xiang Liao. As for the other two, they would certainly die. Of course, if they knew that Ning Fan had already sent Stone Warrior to chase after Xiang Liao, they would be even more terrified. A spirit-severing realm puppet was something that they couldn't imagine. A cultivator who possessed a spirit-severing realm puppet was enough to make the 10 sects not dare to offend him. As for Qin Huazi, who almost drew his sword against Ning Fan for the sake of the nascent soul realm Dao fruit, his back was now drenched in cold sweat. Dangerous. It's too dangerous. If it wasn't for the group of scapegoats from the Xiang family, he wouldn't have been able to hold himself back and draw his sword to fight Ning Fan. However, he would probably end up like the group of nascent soul realm and mid-nascent soul realm cultivators who died tragically in Ning Fan's hands. Ling Giku was also secretly shocked. Just like what Ning Fan said, he was venerated Cry, one of the 4 venerated beings of Sinister Sparrow sect who had been missing for many years. When Ning Fan pointed out his identity, he secretly guessed that Ning Fan was probably from Yu country and had some relationship with the Sinister Sparrow sect. That was why he saved him. At first, he thought that his mid-nascent soul realm cultivation base was already a figure that only appeared once in 10,000 years in Yu country. However, after meeting Ning Fan, he realized that his insignificant cultivation base was nothing in front of Ning Fan. He had seen Ning Fan annihilating the Xiang family. He couldn't imagine that if Ning Fan returned to Yu country would probably become a high-grade cultivation country. However, he couldn't understand. Ning Fan's bone age was undoubtedly 340 years old. 300 years ago, he was still in Yu country. Yu country didn't seem to have a genius called Zhou Ming. Of course, it wasn't something that he could guess. Even if the Xiang family didn't come to cause trouble. The auction had also ended prematurely because of Ning Fan's arbitrary decision. After the Xiang family suffered countless casualties, no one dared to question Ning Fan's monopolization of the nascent soul realm cauldrons and the Dao fruit. The auction has ended. Those who have nothing to do with this, leave South Desert City immediately. My true self, Zhou Ming, will be in seclusion here. Any nascent soul realm cultivator who stays here will be regarded as the accomplices of the Xiang family. Kill them all. Black armor. Kill them all. At this moment, Ning Fan's sword sense swept across the area. Then, he released the black-armored refined corpses. At the same time, the Gold Core Realm and Harmonious Spirit Realm cultivators of the Xiang family who were guarding outside South Desert City were all killed by the shadow of his sword sense. Those who were lucky enough to survive were also eaten alive by the black-armored refined corpses. This Zhou Ming also knows sword sense. He even has a nascent soul realm puppet. He wants to chase them away. It's better for us to leave as soon as possible. Each of the nascent soul realm old monsters. How would they dare to question Ning Fan's order? They might as well end the auction as well. Even though they didn't get any benefits and came here for nothing, they could still witness the battle of nascent soul realm cultivators. It was also an eye-opening experience. Each of the old monsters walked out of the room with smiles on their faces. They cupped their fists at Ning Fan and left. In the endless sea, the strong deserved respect, especially after the 3 nascent soul realm cultivators left the room. They immediately put away the complicated expressions on their faces and exchanged some pleasantries with each other to establish a good karma. Only then did they leave. Fellow Taoist Zhou Ming, your means are really shocking. I'm Lu Wei, a rogue cultivator from the external endless sea. If you have time, why don't you come to my island and have a cup of spiritual tea? I'm impressed. I'm Shen Jizi. I'm now a foreign elder of the heaven-seeking sect, one of the 10 great sections. If fellow Taoist comes to the heaven-seeking immortal island, remember to inform me. I'll definitely welcome you with open arms. Hee. Fellow Taoist Zhou is really something. I'm Lin Sushan, a member of the Lin family of the Internal Endless Sea. If fellow Taoist comes to the Internal Endless Sea in the future, you must pay me a visit. Ning Fan merely nodded his head in response to their polite greetings. Just like that, the entire South Desert City became empty after just 10 breaths. Not a single cultivator from the outside remained. Only the cultivators of the Pill Cauldron Gate and the countless corpses of the cultivators of the Xiang family were left. Ling Giku was full of questions. He wanted to talk to Ning Fan, but Ning Fan said in an unquestionable tone, "Fellow Taoist Ling, quickly prepare a safe place for me. I'm a little tired and I want to have a good rest." Ling Giku did not dare to say anything else. He was pretending to rest, but forcing the silver needles out was his real intention. Although the silver and embroidery needles were temporarily suppressed by the yin-yang locket, if they were not forced out, they would still be a hidden danger. The means of a peak nascent soul realm cultivator was indeed not to be underestimated. If it wasn't for the stone warrior, even if he could defeat Xiang Liao, he definitely wouldn't be able to kill him. Without the protection of the yin-yang locket, he would have been seriously injured by Xiang Liao's silver needles. However, Ning Fan had the help of the stone warrior. Xiang Liao would never be able to escape. The reason why he did not use the stone warriors openly was because he did not want to attract the attention of the Lost World Palace. If the Lost World Palace were to know that the loss of the stone weapon was related to him, even though he was not afraid, it would inevitably cause a series of disturbances. He did not like trouble. Although there were some twists and turns in this trip to Desert South, the overall outcome was not bad. The cauldron was in hand, and the Dao fruit was in hand. Once the stone warrior returned, he would adjust his breathing to his peak state. Then, he would be able to use the newly purchased furnace to break through to the middle stage of the nascent soul realm. Mid-stage nascent soul realm. Who would have thought that I would be able to reach this stage so quickly? Ning Fan's eyes flashed, but he was slightly worried in his heart. His speed of cultivation seemed to be a little too fast, but his mental state could not keep up. It was still troublesome to improve his mental state. Mental state. It would be great if I have the Min Luo fruit. Min Luo fruit. I wonder how Bright Sparrow is doing. In Ing country, there was a little girl who was stepping on a 4th-grade immortal cloud. She was carrying a furry silver ball in her arms and was followed by a few nascent soul realm rain beasts. When Ning Fan thought of her, she sneezed unconsciously. Ayaya. It must be Grandpa scolding me again. But don't worry. Grandpa can't leave the Dark Sparrow's grave. He can't catch up to me. He can't spank me. I have so many rain beasts to protect me. I will be fine. I want to go to the island in my dream. I want to know what seed song is and whether it tastes good. Why do I dream of her every day? Chapter 205. Xiao Wanluo had woken up. When he woke up and heard that the Xiang clan had come to challenge the sect, he panicked. When he heard that Zhou Ming had averted the calamity of the Xiang clan, he didn't even have time to heave a sigh of relief before he found out that Zhou Ming was currently resting in his ancestral stone chamber. Why is this malefic star hanging around and not leaving? Ling Giku, what's going on? Cough cough cough. I'm not too sure either, but it seems like I know this Zhou Ming. Wait, what did you say? Xiao Wanluo was stunned. Are you close with Zhou Ming? I'm not familiar with him. I should say that I don't even know him. If we weren't close, would he have destroyed the Xiang family for your sake? You don't have to be so courteous with me. Tell me, do you have the confidence to keep this person in my pill cauldron gate as a nominal foreign elder? Xiao Wanluo's eyes flickered. Brother Ling, you must help me in this matter on account of the fact that I saved your life. If this Zhou Ming becomes a foreign elder of my pill cauldron gate won't have to run away anymore. There were mountains and rivers in the stone pass. It was like an empty valley in the desert. Amidst the singing of birds and the fragrance of flowers, the sisters Bing Ling and Yu Ling were training more than 1,100 cauldrons on the hillside. There were more than 10 harmonious spirit realm experts from the extreme Eam Gate and dozens of late and peak gold core experts. Everyone was planted with a mental seal. At the same time, the pill cauldron gate's seal was erased. All of them were Ning Fan's human cauldrons. According to the legends, there was a yellow emperor in the immemorial era who had 3,000 women and ascended to the heavens. Today, there was a flower devil Ning Fan who had more than 1,000 women. From today onwards, we are the female guards of the Ning clan. Our surname is Ning. I am the female guard's first commander, Ning Bingling. She is the second commander, Ning Yueling. Do you understand? Yes. But why was his surname Ning? Isn't Master's surname Zhou? You will understand this in the future. By the way, we will be cultivating in Master's cauldron ring in the future. Sister Bing Ling, may I ask? What is the cauldron ring? It's a heavenly abode magic treasure that Master specially prepared for the cauldron. There's enough space, mountains, and water for us to cultivate. What? Master actually has a heavenly abode treasure. A group of female cauldrons immediately chattered with each other. All right, There are some details that you will know in the future. First of all, we are Master's Cauldrons. Naturally, we need to clarify our identities. First, I will tell you the rules of us female guards. Second, looking at Bing Ling and Bing Ling's methodical naming, rules and instructions, Ning Fan was surprised and chuckled. From today onwards, his massive harem would probably be open for business. He retracted his divine sense and sat on the couch in the palace. He looked up at the two women in light robes and smiled. Of these two women, one was wearing a yellow robe, the other a green robe. Both were outstanding beauties, graceful and charming. They were none other than the two nascent soul cauldrons. However, in the face of Ning Fan, whose evil chi was still lingering, the two ladies' eyes were filled with admiration and nervousness. As human cauldrons, they could not decide their own fate. No matter who bought them, they would have to serve them. They had no choice but to accept that their cultivation had been harvested. Even if they were treated like livestock, they had to accept it. Some old monsters with special fetishes would call on their friends and attack them together, and they would have no choice but to accept it. Even if they were killed after being toyed with, they still had to admit it. This was fate. From a certain point of view, being bought by Ning Fan was considered a blessing for them. Not to mention Ning Fan's dignified appearance and terrifying strength. His attitude towards human cauldrons made the two ladies admire him. Bing and Yu sisters were human cauldrons. There was no doubt about it. The two ladies could tell that they were human cauldrons. However, as human cauldrons, they could move freely, retain their gold core realm cultivation base, live freely, be loved by their master, laugh and cry freely. Such a life made them envious. However, standing in front of Ning Fan, the two ladies could not help but feel a little nervous. They were nervous about Ning Fan's evil chi that had yet to dissipate and also worried about what would happen next. When the two ladies were summoned to the room, they naturally had to perform the deed. As women, even if they had learned many techniques since young, they would still feel a little nervous when it came to the crucial moment of their first time. Master, should we now? The two ladies blushed and rubbed their jade-like legs, feeling a little scared. Next, I will use my cultivation method to pluck the two of you. Because of this, the two of you will fall to the nascent soul realm. However, you don't have to be nervous. After that, I won't kill the two of you. I will preserve your early gold core realm strength and impart you cultivation experience and pills. With your innate potential, it won't be difficult for you to form your nascent soul again. Yes. Thank you for not killing us, Master. What the two ladies were most worried about was to what extent Ning Fan would pluck them. After hearing that they could retain their gold core realm cultivation base, the two ladies immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed to thank him. Get up and sit beside me. Ning Fan smiled and gestured. The two ladies immediately blushed and sat beside Ning Fan. They even consciously leaned their bodies on Ning Fan's body. If the ladies were willing to do it and reach the peak during the process, the effect would be better. As for forcing oneself, it was the inferior method of the flower devil. Making the ladies unconscious and letting me do whatever I want was also not a wise move. According to the routine of the yin-yang transformation, before plucking the ladies, he needed to make them feel happy, relaxed, comfortable and gentle. The environment of the stone chamber was not bad. From the outside, it looked like a 100-li-long mountain range. However, the inside was like a paradise with a tranquil environment. In the words of a lady, it was romantic. His palm caressed the lady's cheek. It was soft, smooth and slightly cold. Immediately, the lady's face became hot. However, she bit her lips and did not resist. His other hand held the lady's hand. The lady's body was slightly thinner, making her look petite. Her hand was soft. When Ning Fan held her hand, the lady immediately lowered her head and her delicate body trembled slightly. The two ladies were still very nervous. It was no wonder that anyone would be nervous during their first time. Do you have your names? Ning Fan held the two ladies in his arms and secretly circulated his bewitching technique. No. I am number 947 and she is number 385. If Master is willing, please give us a name. The two ladies knew that there was a bewitching technique hidden in Ning Fan's words. However, they did not resist and endured it. Gradually, their breathing became rapid and their breasts rose and fell. The nervousness and fear they felt during their first time gradually faded. You don't have names? I will give you 2 names. How about you? You are wearing a yellow shirt like an orange. I will call you Ning Tiana. As for you, you are wearing a green shirt like a duckweed. I will call you Ning Pinger. What do you think? Ning Fan continued to strengthen his bewitching technique. His palms moved from the ladies' shoulders to their waists and abdomen. He secretly circulated the plucking finger and moved upwards along their flat abdomen. Thank you, sir, for bestowing times. The 2 ladies' words began to tremble. They panted slightly and their eyes became misty. The yellow-robed Ning Tiana gradually softened under Ning Fan's evil claws and fell into Ning Fan's arms. As for the green-robed Ning Pinger, she was already weak and feeble. When she met Ning Fan's eyes that were as deep as the sea, she let out a soft "mph." That voice carried a trace of comfort. In an instant, it lit up the bedroom curtain. The caress and touch through the clothes could no longer satisfy Pinger's fiery passion. She had completely fallen in love with Ning Fan. Please, take pity on me. Don't worry. I will take pity on you, because you are my human cauldrons. I am different from those heartless people. If you don't do anything out of line, you will be safe for the rest of your lives. The bead curtain fell. Through the haze, 3 figures could be vaguely seen in the bed. The night passed. 2 blood plum blossoms bloomed under the thin blanket. The 2 ladies finally fell into a deep sleep. Even though their cultivation base had dropped due to being plucked, their expressions were peaceful. Compared to being plucked by others, it was undoubtedly a good thing to be plucked by Ning Fan. Looking at the 2 ladies who were sleeping soundly, Ning Fan could not help but sigh. If the 2 ladies did not meet Ning Fan, they would have a miserable ending if they fell into the hands of others. However, in Ning Fan's hands, they could live on as his concubines. The sea of blood in the cultivation world was cruel. Not everyone would be like Ning Fan, who would accept human cauldrons who had been plucked. Ning Fan's chi gradually began to rise. He sat cross-legged on one side of the bed and refined the primordial yin chi of the 2 ladies. The primordial yin chi contained in the 2 nascent soul realm human cauldrons was extremely vast. Both of them were willing to dual cultivate with each other. Their magical power seemed to have increased a little more than before. Ning Fan could feel that he was not far from breaking through to the next small realm. If his cultivation base advanced further, he would be at the mid-nascent soul realm. Chapter 206. After a good night, before the 2 girls went to bed, their tears had yet to dry and their faces were flushed with smiles. If both of them were willing to do it, then the act of making love was indeed a comfortable and relaxing thing. Under the bed, Ning Fan put on his clothes and sat on the cushion. Due to plucking, the 2 girls' magic power had fallen to early gold core realm. As for Ning Fan, he had 93 units of magic power. After plucking them, it increased to 135 units. After pondering for a while, he took out 27 gold core Dao fruits. Although the gold core Dao fruits could greatly increase his magic power, each of them could still increase his magic power by 1 unit. As for the nascent soul Dao fruit, his eyes fell on the Dao fruit with red patterns and became slightly excited. After consuming this Dao fruit, one's magic power would increase by 20 units. This magic power was already more than mid-nascent soul realm. If he successfully breaks through to the mid-nascent soul realm, it would still increase a little. From the pills he snatched, he found a 4th revolution pill called the essence condensing pill and consumed it. His eyes lit up. This nascent establishing pill could increase the success rate of breaking through to the mid-nascent soul realm. He closed his eyes and concentrated, accumulating magic power and refining the medicinal power to comprehend the bottleneck of the mid-nascent soul realm. If he successfully breaks through, he would reach the mid-nascent soul realm at the age of 340. This cultivation speed should make many descendants of the immemorial fiend god veins feel ashamed. In his dantian, the nascent soul opened its mouth and breathed. Traces of primordial energy of heaven and earth flowed into the nascent soul. Under the nourishment of the primordial energy, the tiny nascent soul suddenly flew out of the dantian and turned into a fist-sized baby that looked exactly like Ning Fan. The nascent soul seemed to be struggling. It formed a whirlpool of primordial energy around its body and kept gathering primordial energy into its body. During this process, the tiny nascent soul slowly grew bigger and more solid. From early nascent soul realm to mid-nascent soul realm, one must continuously solidify the nascent soul and completely stabilize it at the late nascent soul realm. After that, one would begin to comprehend the power of heaven and earth, break the nascent soul and refine the spirit. When the nascent soul is completely broken and turned into a primordial spirit, the cultivator would be considered to have successfully advanced to the spirit-severing realm and become a spirit-severing realm cultivator who could shake the outer endless sea with a stomp of their feet. In January, after the two girls woke up, they did not dare to disturb Ning Fan. They immediately changed their clothes and left to cultivate with the female guards. As for Ning Fan's nascent soul, after 1 month of condensing its primordial essence, its facial features became clearer and it even grew hair. Other than the appearance of a baby, it was almost no different from Ning Fan's. At this moment, Ning Fan had completely grasped the bottleneck of the mid-nascent soul realm. He kept his nascent soul back into his body and suddenly opened his eyes. Condense! The surging heaven and earth yuan force immediately entered his body. At this moment, Ning Fan's aura was rising steadily. After consuming the Dao fruit, his magic power had reached 182 units, but as he condensed his nascent soul, his magic power rose to 190 units. When his aura force reached its peak, Ning Fan suddenly stood up. The 1,000 zhang tall palace shattered under his aura force. Red tribulation clouds gathered in the sky above the Penglai immortal island. Many cultivators immediately realized that someone had broken through the bottleneck of the mid-stage nascent soul realm. Countless nascent soul realm old monsters spread out their divine senses and finally discovered that the person who broke through was actually in the southern desert of Penglai. That was the place where crazy devil Zhou Ming went into seclusion. Although some people were curious as to who had broken through to the next realm, no one dared to head over to investigate. Tens of thousands of miles of the southern desert had become the Penglai demonic land. No one dared to touch it. Within a month, Zhou Ming's name had spread throughout the outer endless sea. Everyone in the 10 sects knew that a demon had appeared in the immortal mansion of Penglai. As for those people who wanted to find trouble with the Elixir Cauldron Gate, when they heard that Zhou Ming was in seclusion in the Elixir Cauldron Gate, how would they dare to look for trouble? No one asked about it. Only the cultivators of Pill Cauldron Gate were frightened by the terrifying heavenly might of the blood-colored heavenly tribulation. Before the soul formation realm, the heavenly tribulations of cultivators were all lightning tribulations. After that, there would be Netherfire tribulation and Yin-Wind tribulation. However, there had never been a cultivator whose lightning tribulation was red. Red represented the wrath of the heavens. The wrath of the heavens and the resentment of the people, that was why it was blood red. Under the blood red might, a young man in a white robe with a black cloak stepped into the sky. He held a blood red lightning whip in his hand and lashed out, shattering the tribulation clouds in half. Each of the lightning bolts was shattered by Ning Fan's whip before they could condense. So what if it's a heavenly tribulation? I have the lightning star that can control lightning punishment. Destroy it for me. With dozens of lashes, the heavenly thunder was shattered. The Pill Crucible cultivators were all dumbfounded. Bing Ling's cold and gentle voice resounded outside the palace. Let him wait. Ning Fan did not have the time to care about Xiao Wanluo. He could easily guess that the reason why Xiao Wanluo chose to stay in the Pill Cauldron sect and wait for him to come out from seclusion was because he wanted to rely on Ning Fan. He wanted to use Ning Fan's prestige to establish his foothold in the external endless sea. Ning Fan had no interest in this matter. Compared to this matter, he was more concerned about something else. In his hand was an embroidery needle that shone with dazzling silver light. He had searched through the memories of the Xiang family's nascent empress, but he could not find out the origin of this needle. He had searched through Xiang Liao's memories and found out that this needle was a magical treasure that he had obtained by chance when he sneaked into the outer region of the heaven world during the opening of the ancient heavenly court. The reason why Ning Fan was concerned about this treasure was not only because it could sneak attack others and it was invincible. After all, ordinary nascent soul realm cultivators did not have a magical treasure like the Yin Yang locket to defend against this needle. A sneak attack from this needle would most likely result in severe injuries. What Ning Fan was more concerned about was the fragrance of a woman that came from the needle. The fragrance made Ning Fan recall it repeatedly. Finally, he remembered why the fragrance was so familiar. Because the fragrance was exactly the same as the fragrance on the female corpse. Could this needle be something that the female corpse used when she was alive? The female corpse and Mu Weiliang should be related. With Ning Fan's current strength, he was still not strong enough to fight against the female corpse. Otherwise, he could search through her memories. The female corpse did not have a soul, so her sea of consciousness would not be damaged. The female corpse does not have a soul. Could it be that Weiliang is one of the 3 souls and 7 spirits of the female corpse? Ning Fan's eyes flashed. If that's the case, it would explain why Mu Weiliang's aura was completely different even though she looked exactly the same as the corpse. It was because Mu Weiliang was just one of the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls of the corpse. That was why her aura was different. If that was the case, Mu Weiliang's soul should be wandering in the ancient heavenly court together with the female corpse. Since she appeared in the demon sinister forest, it meant that there was a path to the ancient heavenly court in the forest. As for Ning Honghong, a cultivator of Wu country, she appeared in the demon sinister forest in Yu country. It was highly possible that she had died while searching for treasures in the ancient heavenly court. Her soul did not perish and was transported to the demon sinister forest from another entrance just like Mu Weiliang. Someone had set up the demon sinister forest in Yu country to raise ghosts. There was a path to the ancient heavenly court in Yu country. Ancient heavenly court, Ning Fan recalled the old monster's advice. There were still 90 years before the opening of the ancient heavenly court, which was around the same time as Moksha Emperor's arrival. If Moksha Emperor entered the ancient heavenly court, he would definitely come from the entrance of the devil world. However, he said that his true body would descend to Yu country. It was highly possible that Yu country had a path to the ancient heavenly court and he would descend from there. Why did an immemorial Dark Sparrow Valley fall in the Dark Sparrow Valley? Could it be that she died in a battle in the ancient heavenly court and fell from the entrance and landed in Yu country? Why did the clone of the Jade Lake Saintess stay in Yu country? Why did the old monster stay in Yu country with the token of the ancient heavenly court? Most likely he had been searching for a way to cure Xiao Mei but to no avail. Because he couldn't find the inheritor of the yin-yang evil vein, he became desperate and wanted to go to the ancient heavenly court to find the secret medicine. Yu country must have a special position in the Rain Immortal world. No wonder a gold core realm cultivator like Nanyang Zi could become a female corpse in the ancient heavenly court. If the entrance of the ancient heavenly court of the Rain Immortal world was in another cultivation country, he might not be able to reach it even if he spent his entire life. All these clues made Ning Fan understand some of the things that had puzzled him before. Kei Shensi establishing the Sinister Sparrow sect in the Dark Sparrow Valley was something that happened later. Before this, there was an almighty figure who raised the Pill Devil at the place where Dark Sparrow had fallen, raising the ghosts of the demon Sinister Forest. Some of the ghosts were killed by the people of Sinister Sparrow sect, while some were the souls of the people who had died in the ancient heavenly court. Their souls entered the demon Sinister Forest and became the prison of that almighty figure. There should be 9 levels in the demon Sinister Forest. The first 7 levels were in the Rain Immortal world and the last 2 levels were in the heavenly court. Every time the heavenly court opened, that person would go to the 8th and 9th levels of the demon Sinister Forest to collect the true immortal level ghosts that were successfully raised. At that time, he might send someone to check on the Pill Devil. If he found any abnormalities in the Pill Devil, he would most likely be in trouble. There were still 90 years left before the ancient heavenly court opened. At that time, not only would he have to eliminate Moksha Emperor and compete with him, he would also have to offend a true immortal old monster who was scheming against the heavens and earth. This is really troublesome. Holding the embroidery needle, Ning Fan recollected his thoughts. Yu country was truly a land of muddy waters. Whether it was true or not, he would find out once he returned to Yu country in the future. After clearing his thoughts, he heaved a sigh of relief. If he ever returned to the Wu kingdom, he would bring Ning Honghong's corpse with him. At this moment, he should continue to improve his strength. In order to pry into the memories of the female corpse, one had to have sufficient strength, and the fastest way to increase one's strength was to pluck the 2 demonesses and use the secret technique of blood-piercing runes to increase one's body refinement realm. Originally, killing 12 nascent soul realm cultivators was enough for him to break through to the 2nd level of the silver bone. But now, he had killed 17 more nascent soul realm cultivators of the Xiang clan. With the addition of the Jade Royal Pill, breaking through to the 3rd level of the silver bone shouldn't be a problem. He would first refine his body, then deal with the demoness, and finally, deal with the female corpse. He patted his storage pouch and took out a stone figurine. With a tap of his finger, the stone figurine morphed into a mountain golem. Sure Bing, I've collected enough secret blood. You can help me etch the magic mark now. You haven't become the young mistress's Southern Tower honorary professor. I can't etch the mageweth for you. Stone Warrior refused. I will go there later. Ning Fan frowned. Stone Warrior was silent for a long time, and then said helplessly, I hope you are a man of your word. I will help you etch the magic mark now, but I have to remind you again that this process will be very painful. It's better if it's painful. You can eat this. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve, and a Jade Royal Pill appeared in his palm. Stone Warrior's hollow eyes suddenly tightened, and his stone face twitched. You even have a Jade Royal Pill that is hard to come by for an immortal emperor. What exactly is your background? You don't need to know, just etch the magic mark. Do you want the quota of the 9 worlds? A chance to ascend to the 4 heavens without reaching the void fragmentation realm? Stone Warrior cautiously asked. There is such a quota? Ning Fan was very interested. He wanted to know more about the secrets of the 4 heavens. From Stone Warrior's mouth, there was no doubt that he would be able to learn secrets that ordinary people would not know. Chapter 207. The heavens were divided into 4 seas, and the earth into 9 realms. The 9 worlds were the lower worlds of immortals. The top 3 worlds were the demon world, and the heaven immortal world. The 4th was the earth immortal world. The last 5 worlds were the 5 elements immortal worlds: rain world, sword world, fire world, mountain world, and tree world. In the 9 worlds, the strongest cultivators were only at the void fragmentation realm. There were also rogue immortals, rogue demons and rogue devils who had failed to become immortals. The 4 immortal worlds were the North Sea Hades Heaven, the East Sea Void Heaven, the West Sea Brahma Heaven, and the South Sea Empyrean Heaven. The 4 heavens immortal realms were each controlled by a powerful force. Collectively, they were known as the 4 heaven sects. Together, they established their own immortal abodes. Immortals who had ascended to the immortal abodes held office. Among them, the controller of the Eastern Abyss Void Sky was the godly Void Pavilion. The ruler of Biminghunian was the Lost World Palace. The 4 great forces would often send their descendants down to the mortal world to gain experience, and they would hold the quota of the 9 worlds. This spot could grant protection to god-fiend cultivators in the lower realms and allow them to ascend for 4 days. However, the price was to join the faction after ascending. The 4 Seas Immortal Realm was also known as the Broken Immortal Realm. It was a replacement for the lost ancient heavenly court, and it was the place where humans from the lower realms ascended. The demon clan of the demon realm doesn't enter the 4 marquises but the demon spirit land. Rumor had it that the demon spirit land was divided into the awakening realm and the dream realm. Even Sherbing didn't know the specifics. The devil race of the devil world did not enter the 4 nether heavens either. Instead, they ascended to the ancient devil abyss. It was the first time for Ning fans to hear all the information from Stone Warrior. Zhou Ming, if you're willing to accept the quota of the Lost World Palace in the 9 worlds, my mistress can help you ascend to the 4 heavens. You have to know how difficult it is to become a void fragmentation realm immortal with your own strength. If you can ascend to the 4 heavens with the help of the investiture of gods and the power of incense flame, it'll be a piece of cake for you to break through to the true immortal realm. Let me think about it. Ning Fan remained silent. The quota for the 9 worlds sounded tempting indeed. The inheritance of ancient chaos's memory stopped at the void fragmentation realm. There was no mention of the method to become an immortal. This meant that after Ning Fan's cultivation base reached the void fragmentation realm, he would no longer be able to rely on ancient chaos's memory to have extraordinary foresight. Their chances of ascending to immortality would be the same as ordinary cultivators, less than 1%. With the quota of the 9 worlds, it was almost certain that he would be able to ascend to the immortal realm. However, whether he should ask for the quota of the Lost World Palace and join this force after he ascends to the immortal realm, he really had not thought about it properly. Honestly speaking, it might be better for him to accept the quota of the godly Void Pavilion compared to the unruly Bei Xiaoman. Ning Fan did not have a bad impression of that annoying little demoness. Ascending to immortality was still out of Ning Fan's reach for now. Thus, he was not in a hurry to make the decision. Whether to accept the quota or not, which heavenly realm to accept the quota, needs to be carefully considered. For example, ask the old devil which immortal realm he is from. At least, master and disciple should ascend to the same realm so that they can take care of each other. We'll talk about this in the future. Etch the devil marks on me first. Ning Fan said indifferently. All right. Stone Warrior naturally did not have the qualifications to threaten Ning Fan. If the Lost World Palace took the initiative to express their goodwill to Ning Fan when he first came to Penglai, it would probably leave a good impression on him. But now, the art of engraving devil marks was passed down to the ancient devil race, the Stone Statue clan. The art of spirit attachment was passed down to the ancient demon race, the Demon Spirit clan. Even though it was passed down in the end, it was not something that belonged to the human race. I don't know much about the ancient Demon Spirit clan, but the ancient Devil Stone Statue clan. During the ancient times, this clan could even carve the immemorial divine devil veins into the devil race's body with a needle in their hand. Let's talk about the engraving devil marks. Only those with extraordinary physique can endure the violent pain of the engraving devil marks. The Stone Warrior devil mark is a weapon-grade devil mark. It requires at least 7 lines and a maximum of 99 lines. The devil mark can be upgraded, but the number of lines carved determines the final growth of the devil mark. Let me remind you again, it's extremely painful to etch this devil mark. You've said it many times. No, it's really painful. When my puppet body endured the 13th devil mark, my physical body almost collapsed and I couldn't carve the 14th line. As for the descendants of the fiend gods and devils in the 4 heavens, they can only endure 24 lines at most. Even if they are in the 4 heavens, they are still considered as outstanding talents. Therefore, the pain of the engraving devil marks is not something that ordinary people can endure. Therefore, this devil mark is usually used to increase the strength of puppets. Oh. In other words, if I learn the art of engraving devil marks, I can carve it on refined corpses and puppets. For example, my black-armored refined corpse can break through to the Jade Life realm. If that's the case, Ning Fan could use the corpse transformation technique of the corpse devil vein to mass-produce Jade Life refined corpses and sweep across the rain world with thousands of divine transformation realm refined corpses. That's impossible. The art of engraving devil marks is definitely not as simple as the art of spirit attachment. If you don't have 1,000 years, you won't be able to learn the devil marks above the weapon grade. Moreover, even if you learn it, you will need to kill nearly 100 nascent soul realm cultivators to refine a Jade Life refined corpse into a secret blood. In the end, the refined corpse will have no spirit and may not even succeed in engraving the devil marks. Lend me your immortal needle. Immortal needle? Ning Fan passed the embroidery needle to Stone Warrior. This is the needlework used by the immortals of the ancient heavenly court. If you are fated to enter the ruins of the heavenly court in the future, you might be able to see some of it. It's best to use it to carve devil marks. There are 3 steps to engraving the devil marks. The first step is to pierce the body with the needle and carve the devil marks. The second step is to seep the secret blood into the body, and the third step is to activate the devil marks. Stone Warrior took off his outer shirt and revealed his back. Looking at Ning Fan's thin and weak back, he frowned. "Your physique is so weak. I'm afraid you won't be able to endure more than 7 devil marks. The pain of engraving devil marks is already unbearable. The pain of the Jade Royal Pill is even more terrifying. You shouldn't consume the Jade Royal Pill for the time being when you're engraving the devil marks. There's no need to worry." Ning Fan would never tell Stone Warrior that the method of consuming the Jade Royal Pill was to stop the pain with pain. If he wanted to engrave more devil marks, he might have to rely on the Jade Royal Pill to endure the pain. Let's begin. The first needle. Stone Warrior's finger lit up with an indiscernible light. With a flick of his wrist, the embroidery needle immediately turned into a 3-inch-long needle and pierced into Ning Fan's back. Under the control of the secret technique, not a single drop of blood seeped out. However, the pain from the piercing increased by several times in an instant. When Sherbing controlled the needles with his magic force, he used his finger to write something on Ning Fan's back. Immediately, the pain he felt increased by a few times. Even a spirit-severing realm expert would lose his composure and let out a groan. However, Ning Fan's eyebrows only twitched a little. It was indeed painful, but not enough to make him cry out. Stone Warrior was amazed. He didn't expect this thin and weak young man to have such endurance. Among the first 6 needles, the most painful one was the first needle. Because of the first needle was the most painful. Because of the first needle, he was caught off guard. As for the next 5 needles, although each needle was 10% more painful, it wasn't hard to endure after getting used to it. At least in Stone Warrior's memory, whether it was a cultivator or a puppet, there was no one who could endure the first needle without batting an eyelid. Regardless of this young man's aptitude, his endurance was enough to make Stone Warrior raise his eyebrows. The shock in his eyes faded away and was replaced by a trace of respect. This Zhou Ming might be his enemy, but he was a man. If they weren't enemies, Stone Warrior really wanted to be friends with him. The second needle. This needle was 10% more painful than the first needle, but Ning Fan didn't even frown. This was called adaptation. The third needle, the fourth needle. Ning Fan didn't even frown until the 6th needle. However, when the 7th needle came, Stone Warrior couldn't help but feel nervous. This needle would determine the success or failure of the tattooing. If it hurts, then cry out. The 7th needle. After the 7th needle fell, there seemed to be a tattoo of a black cloud on Ning Fan's back. The pain of the 7 needles converged at one spot. Ning Fan's eyes widened and blue veins popped up on his forehead. He gritted his teeth but didn't cry out. Not enough, not enough. It was still a little bit away from the pain of taking the 4th Jade Royal Dan. His .7 needles didn't ring. The respect in Stone Warrior's eyes became even more intense. This Zhou Ming's endurance was definitely beyond his expectation. Continue. Don't stop. Okay. This kid can endure even more than my puppet body. I can endure 13 needles, so it shouldn't be a problem for him to endure 13 needles. Stone Warrior secretly thought that once Ning Fan started to cry out in pain, it would be the end. If he couldn't endure the pain anymore, Stone Warrior would immediately stop the last stroke. However, Stone Warrior never expected that Ning Fan wouldn't make a sound. The 8th needle, the 9th needle, the 13th needle. This was the number of needles that even Stone Warrior couldn't endure in the past, but Ning Fan's whole body was drenched in sweat and he still didn't say a word. The 14th needle, the 15th needle, the 24th needle. This was the number of tattoos that a talented fiend god's successor could endure. But Ning Fan's face was pale and he still didn't stop. The 25th needle, the 26th needle, the 31st needle. Ning Fan's body finally trembled. Even if he didn't cry out, his body couldn't bear the pain. Stone Warrior swallowed his saliva. The 31st needle. If this matter was spread to the four heavens, it would surely cause a sensation. To be able to endure 31 needles, this Zhou Ming's willpower was as strong as a rock. On Ning Fan's back, there were already several black clouds and the tip of a mountain. Alright, 31 needles is enough. It's about time, not enough. I want to carve 99 strokes. Don't mess around. Your body has reached its limit. If you continue to be stubborn, your body might collapse due to the pain. Stone Warrior was a bit worried about Ning Fan's, which was really strange. The change of attitude fell into Ning Fan's eyes and suddenly turned into a strange expression. Being cared for by the enemy, this feeling was really strange. It's about time to take the 4th Jade Royal Dan. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a cold light. He dared to be ruthless to his enemies, but he dared to be even more ruthless to himself. Let me see. Can the Jade Royal Dan be the same as the devil marks? Using pain to stop pain. The 4th Jade Royal Dan was taken. And Stone Warrior's expression greatly changed. Well, what? The pain from the tattoos is already unbearable, but you still want to take the Jade Royal Dan. You madman. Is that so? But once the medicinal effect was released, the immortal veins and bones in Ning Fan's body began to break and reconstruct. This pain coincidentally offset the pain from the tattoos. His body-tempering realm rose rapidly as well. Continue, Ning Fan said with a stern tone. Stone Warrior was shocked. At this moment, Ning Fan was sitting on a cushion, but it gave Stone Warrior a kind of shock. His heart began to feel a trace of fear towards Ning Fan. It was not fear of the Black Moon Seal, but fear of Ning Fan's ruthlessness. When he was still immortal, he dared to enter the lair of the Wolf King and led the vein-opening realm cultivators to be buried in the belly of the Wolf King. When he was at the vein-opening realm, he dared to kill the Heaven Separation Sect Elder. After he reached the Harmonious Spirit Realm, he dared to enter the Demon Sinister Forest and fight against Gold Core Realm ghosts. Before he formed his core, he dared to kill Gold Core Realm cultivators and Nascent Soul Realm cultivators. After he formed his Nascent Soul, he became even more famous in the external Endless Sea. This person even dared to capture his spirit-severing realm puppet. Stone Warrior took a deep breath. Suddenly, he had a feeling that if Ning Fan was the one who inscribed the devil marks on his body, he would have a chance to endure the pain of 99 needles and completely inscribe the devil marks of Stone Warrior which no one had ever inscribed before. I have seen many outstanding geniuses of the four heavens, but an outstanding person like you is very rare. Stone Warrior's eyes turned serious and pierced the long needles. 32 needles, 33 needles. 41 needles, 42 needles, 52 needles, 62 needles, 72 needles, 82 needles, 92 needles, 98 needles. The remaining Jade Royal pills had all been consumed. It was no longer enough to offset the pain. The pain of the last needle was enough to tear Ning Fan's body into pieces. On Ning Fan's back, there was a Devil Mountain tattoo with black clouds and mist. It was only one stroke away. When his gaze fell upon the complete tattoo, Stone Warrior was shocked. How could this be? The Stone Warrior devil marks are just a soldier rank devil marks. However, if I were to carve 99 strokes, it would actually become the second lost devil mark of the general rank, the Profound Earth devil marks. The first 3 devil marks of the general rank were all lost in history. Unexpectedly, one of the so-called lost devil marks was actually advanced from the soldier rank. With just one stroke, this devil mark that was known for its unparalleled defensive power would be successfully etched. However, when the last stroke was completed, Ning Fan's condition was already close to fainting. His face was pale and his physical body seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Even his nascent soul was unstable. However, after hearing Stone Warrior's exclamation, Ning Fan's eyes flashed. After carving the last stroke, the soldier rank devil mark, I can advance to the general rank. That's right. Moreover, it's the Profound Earth devil mark that is ranked second among the tens of thousands of general rank devil marks. If you succeed in carving this devil mark, the defensive power of your physical body will increase by more than a few times. Alright, do it. But your body is already on the verge of collapse. Then what about this? Ning Fan's eyes were bloodshot, but they gradually disappeared. What replaced them was an indifferent gaze. His black hair grew longer and the demonic marks on the left side of his face became longer. His body was surrounded by black chi. Clearly, he had completely turned into the body of a soul. This is an incarnation. Only a void fragmentation old monster could condense an incarnation. Stone Warrior was shocked and in disbelief. Even the descendants of fiend gods couldn't condense an incarnation before reaching the void fragmentation realm. What is this Zhou Ming's background? He actually had an incarnation when he was still at the nascent soul realm. If that's the case, aren't you afraid of your physical body exploding? Pierce. Ning Fan's eyes were cold and his words were like ice. However, there was a trace of majesty that could not be looked at directly. Stone Warrior gritted his teeth and pierced the last stroke. At this moment, the tattoo on Ning Fan's back was completely completed. It was a totem of an ancient devil mountain that emitted a monstrous devil chi. His physical body couldn't bear the pain at all. He had used up all his Jade Royal pills. He had to endure this most painful attack by himself. The body of a soul was crushed into black mist in an instant. The pain went straight to Ning Fan's mind, forcing his spirit sense to shatter. If his spirit sense was shattered, his will would collapse, his Tao would vanish, and he would die. All of his endurance would be destroyed. Condense. 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 His eyes were filled with madness. The black mist condensed again. When the soul incarnation was condensed, Ning Fan's aura was as steady as a mountain. In the first step, he pierced 99 needles. Other than the creator of the Stone Warrior Devil Mark, he was the first person to endure the pain and forcefully upgrade a soldier rank Devil Mark to the second general rank Devil Mark. It's done. It's done. Stone Warrior laughed heartily. Ning Fan was able to carve the lost Devil Mark. It was the right decision for him to carve the Devil Mark. No, it's not done yet. Fuse the secret blood. Activate the Devil Mark. Time passed quietly. A month had passed in the blink of an eye. The secret blood fused with the Devil Mark tattoo, causing the dark clouds and the black mountain to have a tinge of dark red. During the 1 month's activation, Ning Fan's mind was immersed in an ethereal devil mist. That place was filled with devil mist. Under his feet was an impenetrable devil abyss. In the sky was a black mountain that suppressed the abyss. He was standing on top of the black mountain, trying to conquer it. I'm the mountain soul of the suppressing abyss devil mountain in the ancient devil abyss. Junior, you don't deserve to stand on my head. Get lost. Not only do I want to stand on your head, I also want to conquer you. Activate your devil mark. A month later, Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes and stood up. His long hair fluttered in the wind. His body refinement realm suddenly rose. His body was surrounded by surging devil chi. Third step, success. His body refining realm increased. Second realm of silver bone, third realm. Fourth realm. He was only a step away from the Jade Life realm where his physical strength could rival a spirit-severing realm old monster. Even a peak nascent soul realm cultivator would find it hard to withstand the power of a single punch. Now, I only need 3 punches to kill Xiang Liao. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with domineering intent. Slowly, he dispersed his aura force. In his right eye, there was only a black star of Saturn that completely condensed. The first star of the divine star was the star of imperial lightning. The first star of the devil star was the star of earth. As he stepped on the land of Penglai, Ning Fan's heart seemed to have a strange feeling. If he wanted to, he could extract the island's soul of this Penglai immortal island. Everything in the world had a soul. The mountains had a soul, the water had a soul, and even the starry sky had a soul. As for soul extraction, it was a secret technique that only a few void fragmentation realm old monsters could use. Even if they did that, they would only extract the souls of small mountains and rivers to increase their magic power. However, Ning Fan had a feeling that he had a way to extract the island's soul of the entire Penglai Immortal Island with the Star of Earth and strengthen himself. If that's the case, his earth magic power would rise to a terrifying level. Unfortunately, even if his physical body had the Jade Life Realm, it would not be able to withstand the entire island's soul of the island. After dispersing his thoughts, the Saturn star in his right eye flashed. He reached out his hand and clawed downwards. Since I can't extract the island's soul, I'll extract the soul of the great earth in the oasis of Emonan City. That claw and pull immediately caused the spiritual chi within 1,000 li of Emonan City to collapse. Ning Fan seemed to have grabbed something in his hand. It emitted a trace of heavy and vast chi. He opened his mouth and swallowed it. His magic power instantly increased by 2,000 units as if he had just used a secret technique. He could now be considered as a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. His eyes were filled with indifference and vicissitudes of life. It was as if he had turned into the earth and had existed since the beginning of time. What a mysterious secret technique! With this technique, I can extract the soul and borrow its power whenever I want when my magic power is insufficient. After dispersing the soul of the great earth, the spiritual chi within 1,000 li of Emonan City gradually returned to normal. Ning Fan took a deep breath and his expression became clear. After adjusting my breathing, I'll start to pluck the Camellia Demon and the Hyacinth Demon. I wonder what kind of expression they will have when they see my current cultivation base. The spiritual chi in the land of Emonan City dissipated, but it soon recovered. Outside the stone chamber, Xiao Wanluo was pacing back and forth with his hands clasped behind his back. His face was filled with impatience. He had been waiting outside the stone chamber for 2 months. This Zhou Ming is really arrogant. I'm a half-step grand cultivator after all. Even spirit-severing realm cultivators should be polite to me. However, this Zhou Ming actually ignored me. What an arrogant man. An arrogant man won't be able to go far on the path of cultivation. He cursed inwardly. If it wasn't because he wanted to borrow Ning Fan's devil prestige to intimidate the powerful forces in the external endless sea, he wouldn't have acted so humbly and waited for Ning Fan outside the stone chamber like a servant. However, when the spiritual chi changed, Xiao Wanluo was stunned. He was the late nascent soul realm cultivator who was the closest to the stone chamber. He was probably the only person in Penglai Immortal Island who could sense the reason behind the change in the spiritual chi. At the moment when the spiritual chi dissipated, he could clearly feel that the earth beneath his feet had died. It was as if the earth had lost its soul. As for Xiao Wanluo, who was the closest to the stone chamber, he had an absurd feeling. It was as if his soul was going to be sucked away by stepping on the earth. Immediately, all of his dissatisfaction turned into shock. A void fragmentation old monster's soul extraction technique. This Zhou Ming was actually in seclusion to study void fragmentation realm divine abilities. This person? According to the legends of the cultivation world, if a cultivator could comprehend one of the 3 secret techniques of soul extraction, void control and incarnation before attaining the void fragmentation realm, that cultivator would certainly attain the void fragmentation realm in his lifetime. Furthermore, their chances of becoming an immortal are much higher than ordinary people. Xiao Wanluo was shocked speechless. However, in his heart he firmly believed that even if the Pill Cauldron Gate was not in danger, he, Xiao Wanluo, would still cling onto Zhou Ming's thigh for the rest of his life. Comprehending the soul extraction technique. This person has comprehended one of the 3 secret techniques and has a chance of attaining the void fragmentation realm. There was a chance of becoming an immortal. If Xiao Wanluo knew that Ning Fan had already condensed an incarnation and mastered 2 of the 3 secret techniques, perhaps the prideful Xiao Wanluo would not only try to curry favor with Ning Fan but also acknowledge Ning Fan as his father. Xiao Wanluo's respect for Ning Fan had finally risen to an unprecedented level. He was stronger than the soul formation realm cultivators in the outer endless sea and the 7 venerated beings in the inner endless sea. Chapter 208. Yin-Yang Transformation, 1st Level, 8th Realm. Corpse Devil Record, 1st Level, 9th Realm. close to the first corpse transformation. His magic power had reached 190 units. His demon power had also reached 28 units after devouring countless flesh and blood. Mid-nascent soul realm, peak spirit sense, body refinement realm. Peak silver bone, half-step jade life realm. The last step to the jade life realm requires luck. After meditating for a few days, Ning Fan looked at the cauldron ring on his left wrist. His eyes were filled with reminiscence. Tea-flower demonis, Feng Exen demonis. The 12 demon companions of the Carp Companion Demon General. Today, Ning Fan could kill the two of them without using a finger. The breakthrough of the second level of yin-yang transformation that Ning Fan desired for a long time would probably happen today. Once he plucked the two of them and broke through to the second level, the yin-yang locket would have one more ability. The first level ability was plucking and plundering. What would the second level be? Come out. Ning Fan shook the cauldron ring. Red mist flashed and two unconscious bodies appeared on the ground. They were unconscious. One of them was a red-robed camellia demonis while the other was a purple-haired Feng Exine demonis. Their bodies were hot and voluptuous, but their faces were ugly and full of scars. When Ning Fan flicked his sleeves and the wind blew, the two girls gradually woke up. This is... The tea-flower demonis' eyes were blurred. She had been unconscious for a long time. As for Feng Exen demonis, she had already regained consciousness. When she saw Ning Fan, her eyes were filled with hatred. It's you! She found out that Ning Fan was alone and there was no formation in the room. She and the tea-flower demonis were two nascent soul realm cultivators. The fear and dread they had towards Ning Fan vanished in an instant. Her impression of Ning Fan was just a harmonious spirit realm junior with heaven-defying means. Humph! How dare you let us out alone? You're courting death. She opened her cherry lips and spat out a purple wind blade that carried the fragrance of a virgin. However, she did not even make any hand seals to use this wind blade. It was not a proper demonic technique and was only enough to kill a gold core realm junior. Ning Fan's expression was cold. He flicked his finger and the heaven and earth primordial chi shook violently. The purple wind blade was shattered. As for Feng Exen Nu, she was shaken by the heaven and earth yuan chi and her demon infant almost shattered. She spat out a mouthful of blood and her eyes were filled with shock. That finger was much more casual than any spell she had ever seen. However, its power was something that even a nascent soul spell couldn't achieve. Or, cough cough. She was so hurt by Ning Fan's finger that she could not speak. However, Camellia Maiden's face was filled with shock as she helped her to finish her sentence. Impossible! You actually broke through to the middle stage nascent soul realm. How is this possible? I can't be wrong. In the past, when the two demonesses fought against Ning Fan, that young man was indeed just a harmonious spirit realm. Even though bewitching techniques were difficult to guard against, the two ladies were confident that even if they were no match for Ning Fan in the past, they would not be much weaker than him. If Ning Fan wants to defeat the two of them in the same way, it would certainly be a tough battle and he would have to use all of his trump cards. Today, however, Ning Fan had shaken the primordial power of heaven and earth with just a flick of his finger and injured Feng Exen Nu. She had only seen such strength in the hands of Lord Demon General before. Sister Feng, let's run. She was secretly frightened. She pulled the injured Feng Exen Nu and teleported away. She thought to herself that Ning Fan was too careless. He summoned the two of them but did not set up a formation in the room to prevent them from escaping. However, before they could teleport away, Ning Fan did not move at all. He merely lifted his finger and pointed at them. A gray light flashed and the halo trembled. The two ladies were tightly bound by the invisible threads of Tao law and were frozen in place. When Ning Fan waved his sleeve, the two ladies were involuntarily dragged back to the side of the bed. One on the left and the other on the right, they fell into Ning Fan's arms. They were still unable to move. Did I allow you to leave? Ning Fan sneered. He did not set up a formation because it was unnecessary. Just two Archean demon kings. How could they possibly escape from me? Are they dreaming? How is this possible? What kind of spell is that? How could it immobilize us with just a finger? We can't even break free from it. Impossible. Not even Lord Demon General could do it. What Li Ban can't do, I can't do it too. For example, Li Ban's demon companion is in my arms right now, waiting for me to pamper and pluck her. What did you say? How dare you call Lord Demon General by his name? How dare you try to pluck us? How dare you? If you dare. Feng Exennu's purple eyes flashed, but she was still stubborn. Even though her face was ugly, her delicate body struggled in Ning Fan's arms, making her look somewhat miserable. If I dare to do that, what can you do? Ning Fan's hand fiercely grabbed her breasts. The pain and humiliation made Feng Exennu want to die. Let go. Don't touch me. Feng Exennu's eyes were filled with hatred and hatred. Her breasts were not voluptuous, but they were soft and supple. Even though she had lost her beauty due to some reasons, there were still many demons who wanted to have sex with her seductive body. However, she was unwilling and dared not to do so. Once she was pinned down, she had no strength to break free. She could only watch Ning Fan's devil claws knead her breasts. Even though there was a thin layer of purple robe between them, nascent soul realm demon cultivators had sharp senses. They could still clearly feel the heat from Ning Fan's palm. Damn it, damn it. Her heart suddenly felt regretful. Why did she chase after Ning Fan for the relic in the past? Why did she end up like this? If you continue to humiliate me, Lord Demon General will not forgive you. He is in Jin Country. Demon General? Jin Country? Right. You don't seem to know that this place is not Jin Country and that Demon General has most likely gone to the demon world. As for him not letting me go, look, what is this? Ning Fan sneered and pointed at his glabella. A blood-red lightning whip appeared. The whip had traces of dragon tendon power. The dragon tendon of an immemorial lightning dragon. Even though Ning Fan had almost completely erased the trace of chi on it, there was no doubt that it belonged to Lord Demon General. You pulled out Lord Demon General's dragon tendon. How dare you? Tell me, what did you do to Lord Demon General? In a moment of desperation, Feng Exennu's neck broke free and bit Ning Fan's hand, causing blood to flow out. It seemed like this woman was a subordinate who admired Li Ban. That was why a miracle happened and she managed to break free. However, that cold-hearted Li Ban did not seem to care about his companion's life at all. This woman's infatuation was used in the wrong place. He is not dead, but I will definitely kill him in the future. How dare you hurt Lord Demon General? I will fight you to the death. Feng Exennu was still biting him. The pain made Ning Fan's eyes turn cold. I heard that some demon generals who awaken in the demon spirit land will have demon companions. If the demon companion is a woman, the demon general will take her as a concubine if he likes her. If he doesn't like her, he will destroy the woman's appearance. He doesn't want the woman and he won't allow the woman to have sexual intercourse with others. Your appearance was destroyed by Li Ban, but no. Lord Li Ban didn't do it on purpose. Feng Exennu seemed to have recalled something horrifying. That day, the demon general used a demonic technique to destroy his appearance. At this moment, T-Flower's beautiful eyes turned gloomy. Tears fell from their eyes at the same time as if they were in pain. They knew that the demon general was heartless, but they still admired him. When the demon general was in deep slumber, they were Shan Cha and Feng Exen who were beside him. They borrowed the demon general's demonic power to become spirits. They were his companions, and it was not a big deal for the demon general to ruin their appearances. Interesting. However, no matter how infatuated you two are, it has nothing to do with me. To me, you are just human cauldrons to be plucked by me. How dare you? Both of them shouted at the same time. Many people like to ask if I, Ning Fan, dare or not. It's not a question of whether I dare or not. It's something that I must do. I need human cauldrons. As my enemies, you two have fallen into my hands. This is your fate. If you two cooperate with me, I can let you go. I won't kill you after this and keep your gold core demon power. No. We are the demon companions of Lord Demon General. Only Lord Demon General is qualified to pamper us. It was Ning Fan who knocked Tea Flower unconscious with a finger. His eyes were indifferent as he looked at Feng X and knew, "You don't have a choice." The buttons on her clothes were undone one by one and her silk dress fell to the ground. Her undergarment was gently taken off, revealing 2 white bunnies. Feng Xin's face turned red. She closed her eyes in embarrassment and anger. She knew that Ning Fan must be looking at her breasts right now. Caressing and teasing. His fiery palm brushed across her lower abdomen, almost causing her to collapse. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She wanted to take a deep breath to calm herself down. She wanted to shout and ask for help from the demon general. However, she gradually felt the unfamiliar sea breeze that blew against her face. It did not belong to the 800 cultivation countries. She also knew that the demon general would not save her. Moreover, if he knew that she was having an affair with another man as a demon companion, he would kill her. She already knew that the demon general was cold-hearted. However, she could not forget the red-haired man who was sleeping soundly. However, after that man woke up, he bestowed her the title of a demon and deprived her of her beautiful appearance. Her heart was once bleeding. The pain of being hurt by someone she admired was far more painful than being humiliated by an enemy like Ning Fan. It's natural for an enemy to humiliate me. However, how could the demon general be so ruthless to destroy my appearance? Her heart gradually turned cold. The piercing pain in her lower body had also become numb. There were tears in her eyes, but it was not because of losing her virginity. More than that, it was because of her disappointment towards the demon general. It's better to die. Living an ugly and dirty life is so tiring. What's the point of living like this? If the demon general knows that I have lost my virginity, he will most likely kill me. She was in despair and tried to bite her tongue even though she knew that a nascent soul realm cultivator would not die even if she bites her tongue. However, Ning Fan's finger went into her mouth and caressed her tongue, blocking her teeth from biting on it. Living is originally meaningless. However, if you continue living, you will be able to find the meaning. For example, you turned into a small flower and I saw you. Although there is enmity between us, if you help me pluck you, I can help you and your sister recover your appearance after this. Recover my appearance. A trace of hope flashed across Feng Xin's eyes that were filled with despair. 5th Revolution Pill, Appearance Restoration Pill. Even if it's a disfigurement caused by an incurable technique, it can still be healed. I will concoct it when I have time. Feng Xin regained some of her spirit and gradually felt the tearing pain in her lower body. She could not help but frown and grit her teeth. Be gentle, how can it not hurt? Damn it. Ning Fan frowned. This Feng Xin was really special. She used her obsession to disperse the fixed body. Even if it was done casually by Ning Fan, it was only 50% of its power. Moreover, this woman was able to resist the power of the Yin plucking finger because of her dead heart. All these miracles were because of her obsession. If this woman was plucked by Ning Fan like this, it would be a miracle if he could increase his magical power by 1 unit. If this woman cooperated with him, it would be easy for him to reach the peak and pluck 20 units. The Yin plucking finger actually failed. This made Ning Fan realize that it was not wise to use force blindly. He also realized how terrifying obsession was. His magical technique had yet to integrate that obsession, otherwise, it would be even more powerful. Thus, in order to maximize the effect of plucking, he comforted Feng Xin for the first time. Feng Xin, who was in despair, seemed to have found the hope of living with just a sentence of comfort and an empty promise. No wonder people say that a woman's heart is the easiest to take advantage of when it is broken. What should I do to help you pluck me more easily? Feng Xin asked carefully. She had already lost her chastity to Ning Fan. With the demon general's cold personality, he would not spare her and Tea Flower Lady. As for Ning Fan, he was willing to spare her life even though she was his enemy. His magnanimity was much stronger than the demon general. Even though it was impossible for her to fall in love with Ning Fan and admire him, she had no other choice but to cater to him. There was no turning back. If she does not want to end things here, she had to accept everything. Just relax. The Yin plucking finger had finally succeeded. Feng Xin's breathing gradually quickened. She could not stop shaking her body. Both of her legs were tightly wrapped around Ningfan's waist. A trace of pleasure that she had never experienced before came from the place where they intercourse. Numbness spread throughout her body like an electric current. She hugged Ningfan, who was once her enemy. Her heart was filled with complicated emotions. What is the relationship between her and Ningfan? There were no feelings and the hostility was diluted. The only place that connected them was the place where they intercourse. A human cauldron, huh? Plucking an ugly human cauldron like me? You will suffer a great loss. My master said that everything is the same after the light is extinguished. In my opinion, you are much better looking than many women. Is that so? Her heart became even more complicated. Her arms hugged Ningfan's back tightly and catered to the impact. She still did not have a good impression of Ningfan, but her body had already surrendered. Unknowingly, she had already smoothened her purple hair and sat on top of him while twisting her waist. Unknowingly, Ningfan had already cured Cha Hua Lady's coma and planted the Yin plucking finger in her. Unknowingly, the room was filled with two demonic women's moans. His demonic power continued to increase and was now at 66 units. Nascent soul realm. And the yin-yang transformation had finally broken through to the second level. The second ability of the yin-yang locket turned into a message and resounded in Ningfan's sea of consciousness. Mind-reading technique. Using words to charm and steal feelings from a woman's heart. The thoughts of the human heart are known by the heavens and earth. The bewitching technique leaves no traces behind. The human heart is unfathomable. This is a secret technique to capture a human cauldron and see through the human heart. It is only effective on women whose cultivation is not one realm higher than you. When this technique resounded in his sea of consciousness, Ningfan was stunned. What kind of ability is this? Using the yin-yang locket to listen to a woman's heart? Plucking and seizing is a forceful method, but this mind-reading technique is a soft method? Even a chaste woman could be unknowingly eavesdropped on and fall in love with him, forcing her to throw herself into his arms? Ningfan frowned. This technique was not in line with his style. However, if this technique really has the ability of heart-stealing words, even if it was a void fragmentation realm female cultivator, as long as he has attained the void refinement realm and the other party has something on her mind, he would be able to hear about it when he gets close to her and strikes up a conversation with her. Should I use this ability or not? Try it? Ningfan activated the yin-yang locket. Immediately, the locket trembled slightly and two messages were transmitted into his sea of consciousness. They turned into the thoughts of two women. Fong Xn and V, I am such a bitch. I obviously don't like him but I still indulged in it. Cha Hua Lady, is this the taste of a man? So comfortable. Fong Xn and V seemed to be blaming herself and ashamed while Cha Hua Lady seemed to have completely succumbed to the bewitching technique. Ningfan's expression changed. This ability is a little heaven-defying. Getting information is useful. Pleasing a woman is useful. Although it was hard to imagine Ningfan fawning on anyone given his personality. The second level of the cultivation technique is already so heaven-defying. What kind of heaven-defying cultivation technique would there be in the third level? The third level of the cultivation technique will make you love it so much that you won't be able to put it down. Open the profound Yin world. Become the master of this world and obtain the fire tablet. All the magic techniques and cultivation techniques of the women you slept with or the men you absorbed into the profound Yin world for refinement will appear on the tablet. Any secret techniques and cultivation techniques will be easily obtained. The sound of Luo Yu waking up could be heard faintly. How did you know? Why don't I know? I face this tablet every day. All my cultivation techniques and immortal techniques are imprinted on it. Not bad. When I was sleeping, you didn't slack off and have already cultivated the yin-yang transformation to the second level. Not bad. However, I've seen your naked body. Luo Yu teased. Ningfan did not say anything. He secretly activated the yin-yang locket, trying to eavesdrop on Luo Yu's thoughts. However, he failed in the end. It seemed like even if Luo Yu's magic power was greatly damaged, it was still not something that he could eavesdrop on. After getting rid of all distracting thoughts, Ning Fan focused on plucking the two women. In the dead of the night, he kept the two women into his cauldron ring and meditated. His demonic power broke through the early nascent soul realm and turned into a demonic dark green star that appeared in Ning Fan's left eye. With a thought, the star shone brightly. It was the first star of the demon star, the star of palm wood. The star of palm wood. With a thought, a pair of dark green wings appeared on his back. They were the wind and thunder wings. However, they were imbued with Ning Fan's demonic power. The dark green feathers could increase his flying speed. It could also enhance his wind and thunder wings and his own speed. At this point, the three stars of God, demon, and devil were all ready. After keeping the MO feather, he remained silent and leaned against the window to listen to the wind. It was very quiet. Only the mountain breeze was blowing and the autumn insects were chirping. Ning Fan opened his eyes and thought about what he had done in the past few months. Killing like the clouds, plucking mercilessly, the devil Dao was getting further and further away and he was no longer his pure and innocent self. If the current him saw Ning Qinger bathing, would he still meddle in other people's business? If the current him had Bing Ling, Yu Ling and the other girls who were willing to be his cauldrons, would he still let them go? No, I have changed, he sighed softly. No one would never change. As time went by, he was no longer the elegant young man in the snow. But some things would never change. No matter what he did, Jihe, Lan Mei and In Suqiu would not despise him. Especially Jihe, she was the most foolish girl Ning Fan had ever seen in his life. Jihe. Speaking of which, after I joined the Devil Dao, although I was cold, I seemed to be lacking something. I thought about it for a long time, but when I thought of you, I understood. So, I am lacking a smile. Ning Fan smiled faintly, stood up and stretched his body comfortably. Not a trace of devil chi could be seen on his body. A real devil. A real devil. From his appearance, no one would be able to tell that he was a devil. The cold Ning Fan was like an unsheathed sword. But this sword, when he thought of Jihe, returned to its sheath. Unknowingly, his mental state had broken through to the mid-nascent soul realm. Very good. My mental state is strong enough now. Next, I can try to break through to the late nascent soul realm. With my 190 units of magic power, I only need 110 units to steadily break through to the late nascent soul realm. This meant that he only needed 6 nascent soul cauldrons. The late nascent soul realm is easy, but the peak nascent soul realm requires 1,500 units of magic power. As for the spirit severing realm, it requires 10,000 units of magic power. After breaking through to the late nascent soul realm, my cultivation speed will slow down again unless I have 500 nascent soul realm human cauldrons. However, that is just an extravagant hope. There are only a limited number of women in the world. Female cultivators are rare in the first place. In such a dangerous place like the outer and inner endless seas, there might not even be 500 female cultivators. Ning Fan smiled helplessly. Becoming a soul formation cultivator seemed a little difficult. Even the peak of the nascent soul realm was not easy. No wonder there were so many nascent soul cultivators and so few soul formation cultivators. Furthermore, every single divine transformation realm expert was powerful enough to sweep away all the nascent soul realm experts in the world. Chapter 209. The wind brought with it the fragrance of grass, occasionally mixed with the sound of female guards training. In the peach land of Stone Pass, Ning Fan placed more than 1,400 formation eyes behind the mountain slope. He spent 1.4 million immortal jades to fill each formation eye with 1,000 immortal jades. With a thought, the heaven and earth Yuan Qi turned into a layer of fluorescent array. It was a low-grade divine transformation array, primary photovoltaic demonic array. After setting up the grand formation, Ning Fan slightly frowned and shook the cauldron ring to take out a green coffin. There was still the sound of the corpse devil rubbing against the coffin, but Ning Fan's fear of the corpse devil was no longer as strong as before. Whether you are Wei Yang's corpse or not, I will search your sea of consciousness. I will naturally know. The female corpse had become a corpse demon, which was equivalent to completing the second transformation of the record of the corpse demon. She was even more powerful than ordinary soul formation cultivators. However, Ning Fan's physical body was also close to the Jade Life realm. It was not much weaker than the female corpse. Moreover, he had upgraded the Stone Warrior Devil marks to the second level of the general rank, the Profound Earth Devil marks. The defensive power of his physical body had increased by a few times. Even a true Jade Life realm expert would not be as strong as him. In addition to his skills and the Essence Photovoltaic Devil Formation's ability to restrain corpses and ghosts, he was not afraid of the female corpse with low spiritual intelligence. Some things had to be investigated in the end. He placed his palm on the green coffin and pushed the lid open. The moment the lid of the coffin was opened, the corner of Ning Fan's eyes shrank. In a blink of an eye, he retreated. When the lid of the coffin opened, a woman with 2-inch fingernails and pale skin stretched out of the coffin. Tyrannical corpse Chi swept out at this moment. Its power was almost at the soul formation middle stage. Fortunately, there was the demon subduing array to conceal it, so it did not leak out. Otherwise, it would definitely cause a commotion in Penglai and shock the outer seas. Ning Fan was secretly shocked. He was shocked because of the speed at which Shi Mo's strength increased. The first time a female corpse fell from the sky, it was because Ning Fan happened to open the coffin by chance. At that time, the female corpse had yet to complete her transformation. In the demon's sinister forest, Ning Fan opened the lid of the coffin for the second time to let Mu Weiliang and Ning Honghong have a look at the female corpse. The result was that the female corpse was about to complete her corpse transformation and evolve into a corpse devil. The third time, on the 7 Apricot Voyage ship, the female corpse had already become a corpse demon, and with one claw, she almost destroyed the black-armored refined corpse. Her strength was comparable to the early stage of deity transformation. In just a dozen years, this female corpse was already comparable to a soul formation mid-stage cultivator. This speed was rarely achieved by a corpse demon since ancient times. Powerful corpse Chi spread out. Ning Fan took 3 consecutive steps back before he could stabilize his body. It was a female corpse in a light robe with a pale face, cherry lips, and bloodless red lips. She was dressed in a pink and white gown and her frame was slightly delicate, but her graceful posture was very similar to Mu Weiliang's. Her eyelashes were curved and her hair was messy, but her beautiful eyes were shining with a green light. His joints were stiff and it was difficult for him to walk. Moreover, there was a trace of rotten smell in the fragrance of the woman's powder. Inch by inch, the skin of the woman who used to be smooth and supple started to rot. Corpse decay. Ning Fan frowned. He finally knew why this corpse devil's cultivation base could improve so quickly. It was because it sacrificed its own rotting corpse to disintegrate into chi, damaging itself in order to advance. Looking at the festering flesh of the female corpse, Ning Fan's heart tightened. If this corpse is Mu Weiliang's true body, then I must protect her. I must not let her continue to rot her own body. Moreover, even if this corpse is not Mu Weiliang, I shouldn't let her continue to rot for the sake of having sex with me. Corpse decay can increase the cultivation base of a corpse devil quickly. However, when the corpse is completely rotten and there is no corpse left to rot, the body of a corpse devil will collapse and turn into ashes. He was concerned about the female corpse. However, the female corpse obviously could not understand his concern. She had been dead for many years and turned into a corpse devil. She had lost all her memories and her spiritual intelligence was not clear. She could only vaguely remember that she used to keep her chastity for a man. She used to have a respectable status and held the key to the realm gate of the ancient heavenly court. However, the great tribulation of the heavenly court came instead of that person. The immortal world was destroyed. Who was the one who broke into the realm gate? She could not remember. However, when she thought of this, she felt like crying. It was as if she had eyes but failed to see. It was as if she had misjudged someone. She could not remember clearly. She could not remember clearly. However, there was a figure that she would never forget for the rest of her life. That shameless young man actually played with, violated, tainted my corpse. The palace guarding sand was broken because of him. She had forgotten everything. The only thing she could remember was to kill this person, tear him apart, and eat him. The female corpse's voice was extremely pleasant to the ears, but it carried a hint of hoarseness as if her throat had begun to rot. Her delicate eyebrows were filled with killing intent. A black light flashed and she flew towards Ning Fan. She opened her cherry mouth, revealing her white fangs as if she wanted to tear Ning Fan into pieces. Ning Fan's traveling light flashed and he retreated. The female corpse raised her small hand again. Her fingernails glowed with dark green light and she clawed at him. The powerful corpse intent condensed into a whirlpool behind Ning Fan. It carried a tearing force that could easily tear a nascent soul realm cultivator into pieces, and it tore at Ning Fan's back. Ning Fan hurriedly dodged the attack. However, he was still affected by the whirlpool. It was as if a tremendous force had hit his back, causing his body to fly forward uncontrollably towards the embrace of the female corpse. The female corpse's eyes flashed with ferocity. Her clawed fingers went straight for Ning Fan's neck. Even a true jade life body refinement realm body refinement cultivator would have their throat crushed. Do you really hate me that much? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He knew that he could no longer hold back when facing the female corpse. Otherwise, he might really die in her hands. After reaching the peak of the silver bone realm, his bones had turned into silver. When he activated his body refinement technique, silver light shone brightly. An aura force that was infinitely close to the jade life realm rose from Ning Fan's fist and turned into an ice seal. Ice shatter. The punch and the claw descended. Heaven and earth were frozen. The ice seal caused the female corpse's attack to stagnate. However, her eyes glowed with a dark light. She easily shattered the ice seal with her claw. Their fists collided. On Ning Fan's fist, the female corpse's skin was soft and cold. However, it was not soft but as hard as iron. That claw almost shattered the bones of his fist. The rebounding force even penetrated into his bones, causing him to spurt out a mouthful of blood and fly 1,000 zhang away. If it wasn't for the heaven-defying defense of the profound earth devil marks, Ning Fan's half-step jade life body refinement realm would not be able to withstand a single punch from the female corpse. It was already heaven-defying for his bones to remain intact. Even Stone Warrior could only protect himself from that punch. The female corpse was still as indifferent as before. She turned into a ray of traveling light again and her killing intent was revealed. As expected of a mid-divine transformation realm corpse devil. In that case, I'm sorry. Ning Fan wiped off the trace of blood from the corner of his mouth and activated the primordial photovoltaic devil formation with his spirit sense. Traces of primordial force from the formation light turned into the devil-subduing melody and sang softly within the formation. When the melody reached the female corpse's ears, her face suddenly turned pale with fright. Her corpse stiffened and no longer listened to her commands. After letting out a sharp shriek, she held her head and groaned in pain. This formation was called the devil-subduing melody. Once a corpse devil enters the formation, it would end up like the female corpse. Of course, this formation was only effective against corpses that had yet to become a corpse spirit. The devil-subduing melody would disperse the corpse spirit and cause it to lose control of itself. The female corpse fell to the ground while holding on to her messy black hair. She was in so much pain that she wished she was dead. At the same time, she let out a strange roar. Ning Fan could not bear to see her pained expression. However, he had no choice but to do so in order to find out the female corpse's identity. The female corpse gradually lost her ability to move. When she saw Ning Fan approaching her step by step, her face was filled with fear, alertness, and panic. She was like a field mouse in a hole that was facing a snake that had entered its hole. "Don't come here." She wanted to struggle and tear Ning Fan apart. However, her corpse was not under her control. The female corpse let out a strange cry. Ning Fan sighed softly. He squatted down and carried the female corpse into his arms. He placed her on his knees and pointed his finger at her forehead. "Don't be afraid. It won't hurt soon." Corpse searching technique. The corpse searching technique was a kind of secret technique that could retrieve memories. It was different from the soul searching technique. Cultivators' memories were engraved in their souls. However, their corpses could only retain a few fragments of their memories. It was impossible to retrieve anything from a corpse's memories. However, Ning Fan did not expect to get anything useful from it. He only hoped to find out the name of the female corpse when she was alive. With a single finger, the technique was completed. In his mind, Ning Fan felt like he was standing in a place where heaven and earth were shattered. Each piece of floating land was a piece of memory fragment. All of them were incomplete fragments of her life. There was no way for him to retrieve any information. Fortunately, among the many fragments, there was a blood-red complete memory continent that could be seen. Ning Fan leaped up and landed on that continent. Immediately, he was infected by the blood-red resentment and sorrow. The reason why this fragment of memory was preserved must be because it recorded the saddest past of the female corpse when she was alive. The blood-red memory was filled with resentment. It was because of this resentment that the female corpse's resentment did not disperse after her death and turned into a corpse devil. Thus, this fragment of memory was immortal. Ning Fan squatted down and placed his palm on the blood-red memory. Then he closed his eyes. A broken scene slowly appeared in front of his eyes. In the collapsed immortal world, a noble lady who looked exactly the same as Mu Whaleyong was standing outside an immeasurably tall giant door. Her eyes were filled with tears and she was grief-stricken. But why did you lie to me? Why did you open the door? Why did you betray the heavenly palace? My father trusted you so much and I was so… Hee. Mu Whaleyong, don't you understand? I'm originally an outsider. You're the daughter of the Heaven Sovereign. You're my enemy. That was all there was in the memory. After withdrawing from the corpse searching technique, Ning Fan frowned. The broken scene seemed to be related to the destruction of the ancient heavenly court and the immortal world. However, that kind of secret shouldn't be something that Ning Fan could get involved in. Even the true immortals of the four heavens immortal worlds might not have the chance to know about it. However, Ning Fan finally figured out one thing. This female corpse was indeed Mu Whaleyong. The reason for the difference in her aura was probably as he had guessed. After Mu Whaleyong died, her 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls were scattered. The Mu Whaleyong in the demon sinister forest was just one of her spiritual and physical souls. The female corpse in his arms still had a ferocious look in her eyes. When Ning Fan looked at the slightly rotten face of the female corpse, he felt heartache for the first time. If this female corpse was Mu Whaleyong and he had a brief relationship with her, then even if she was a corpse devil, she could still be considered as an important person to him. Do you recognize this needle? Ning Fan took out an embroidery silver needle as if he was coaxing a child. It was the fairy immortal needle of the ancient heavenly court. There was a trace of the female corpse's aura on it. Needle, embroidery. The female corpse seemed to recall something. She looked at the silver needle and gradually calmed down. Needle. The dark green light in her eyes gradually faded away. She looked like a child who had calmed down and looked at the silver needle eagerly. After pondering for a while, Ning Fan decided to put the silver needle in the palm of the female corpse. The female corpse immediately smiled in satisfaction. A corpse devil can still smile. Be obedient and don't mess around. I will give this needle to you, okay? Don't mess around. It's embroidery. The female corpse begged for mercy. Her eyes were filled with sincerity. She really looked like an ignorant child. If it wasn't because he knew that this female corpse was comparable to a mid-spirit severing realm corpse devil, and if it wasn't because her body had started to rot, Ning Fan would really treat her as an innocent young girl. I will remove the formation light. You are not allowed to attack me anymore. Otherwise, I will take away your immortal needle. Listen. The female corpse seemed to be trying to please Ning Fan. Really? Thank you for not eating me. Ning Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The emotional quotient of this female corpse was exactly the same as Mu Whaleyong. Back in the demon sinister forest, Ning Fan just casually said a few words and it was enough to make Mu Weiliang go round and round in circles. Her emotional quotient is not high. No wonder she couldn't recognize people when she was alive and was deceived and killed. Ning Fan removed the formation light tentatively and stood up. The female corpse also regained control of her body and regained her mobility. But this time, she was slightly afraid of Ning Fan. How would she know anything about the formation light? She only thought that Ning Fan was too powerful and could immobilize her with just a thought. She thought that she was no match for Ning Fan. However, the corpse still retained the memory of the silver needle. This memory made her regard this tiny silver needle as her everything. But it's embroidery. The female corpse pleaded. Light? Light. Ning Fan was surprised. Light. The female corpse pointed at Ning Fan. Then she pointed at herself. She raised the embroidery needle in her hand and smiled. Needle? Is it? Ning Fan understood now. Light was the name that the female corpse gave to Ning Fan. It was probably because the formation light of the primordial photovoltaic evil formation made her think that it was Ning Fan's magical technique. The female corpse frowned and waved the embroidery needle. All right. Let me give you a bath first to cure your rotten body. Ning Fan looked at the female corpse who was temporarily obedient. His eyes revealed a strange expression and kept the green coffin. This female corpse was very strong, but her spiritual intelligence was too low. It was even lower than the black-armored refined corpse. If she had the spiritual intelligence of an ordinary person, she could definitely sweep across the outer endless sea with this female corpse. However, her spiritual intelligence was too low. If she was careless, she would be ambushed by other experts. It was unrealistic to rely on this female corpse to fight. Once she started killing, her ferocious nature would be triggered and she would no longer differentiate between friend and foe and attack Ning Fan again. First, he had to stop the decay of the female corpse. Next, he had to use the secret technique of the corpse devil record to plant a restriction spell on her. The female corpse was dead and her sea of consciousness had collapsed. Thus, he couldn't plant a restriction spell on her. However, there was a secret technique in the corpse devil record that could slightly restrain her. However, this secret technique couldn't control a corpse devil with spiritual intelligence to attack the enemy. Perhaps he could think of a way to rescue Mu Weiliang's soul from the demon sinister forest in the future and merge with the female corpse. That would make the female corpse feel better. But now, the female corpse couldn't be used as a combat force. After instructing the female guard to prepare a wooden basin of warm water, Ning Fan dismissed the female guard and closed the door. Then he smiled at the female corpse. Take off your clothes and wash them yourself. I will give you some medicine to prevent your body from rotting. You don't know. Then I will help you. No. The female corpse's messy hair was rubbed by Ning Fan. Her stiff body was carried horizontally and placed on the head of the bed. Troublesome, a female corpse that doesn't know how to take a bath, a female corpse that couldn't even take off her clothes. She was the daughter of Heaven Emperor when she was alive. Now, she was just a wastrel that couldn't take care of herself. Ning Fan activated the yin-yang locket and tried the mind-reading technique. He realized that he couldn't listen to the female corpse's thoughts at all. When the body is dead, the heart will stop stirring and there will be nothing to worry about. What a troublesome female corpse. But if the rot is cured, she will still be beautiful. Should I help her soften the corpse first? Ning Fan's hand touched the stiff waist of the female corpse. Immediately, the female corpse's body trembled slightly. The dark green light in her eyes was about to appear again. If you don't listen to me, I will confiscate the needle. Yes, you can't. The female corpse felt wronged and dispersed the dark green light. Chapter 210. A secret technique was used to soften the corpse. The female corpse laid naked in the wooden tub. Just the warm water made her tender skin hurt immediately. It's hot. She begged with a pitiful look. Does that so? Ning Fan's eyes were filled with helplessness. He dipped his finger into the water. The water temperature was only a few degrees higher than a normal person's body temperature. Perhaps the female corpse was used to the cold body. He could be cruel to his enemies, but it was fine to love his wife. Although the female corpse was not his wife. His good impression of Mu Wei-liang and the time he spent with the female corpse made him not much different from his wife. He flicked his finger and a trace of ice force entered the wooden tub. The temperature of the water immediately dropped. The female corpse's eyebrows loosened. She revealed a comfortable expression and smiled sweetly. Don't move. I will help you bathe. The female corpse's pale face was still rotten to the bone. But her eyes were pure and without any thoughts. Her soft hand moved the mist and the faint red flower petals. She softly hummed a nursery rhyme. At this moment, her expression reminded Ning Fan of Si Wuxia. Si Wuxia. Ning Fan silently rolled up his sleeves and carefully wiped the rotting body of the female corpse with a cloth towel. It was hard for outsiders to imagine that the Devil King, who was the talk of the world, had such a gentle side. When he was at the early nascent soul realm, he was unable to control the evil qi in his heart. But after he reached the mid-nascent soul realm, he was able to do it. Wei-liang, does it hurt? The corpse devil should not be able to feel pain, cold, or hot. But this female corpse could feel the cold and hot as well as a headache. Otherwise, the primordial photovoltaic evil formation would only freeze her in place and not cause such severe pain. It hurts? The female corpse shook her head. Her hair was rubbed by Ning Fan's fragrant medicinal liquid, causing bubbles to appear. Her pure eyes were filled with interest. She lifted her jade-like finger and popped the bubbles one by one. Then, pointing at herself, she tilted her head slightly and asked curiously, Liang? You are Mu Wei-liang. I am Ning Fan. But in the endless outer sea, you have to call me Zhou Ming. No, light. The female corpse was unwavering. She had to call him this. Whatever you like. Ning Fan could not help but laugh. His palm caressed the black hair of the female corpse. Her face, her collarbone, her breasts, her lower abdomen, and even the area between her thighs were carefully washed. Every time Ning Fan touched her sensitive spots, her delicate body would tense up. There were even a few times when his eyes shone with green light as if he was about to explode. But every time, he was threatened by Ning Fan. For the last time, as soon as she flashed an ominous glint, she turned around and suppressed it on her own. This was a good sign. She also reluctantly stopped rejecting Ning Fan's touch. All right, you rest for a while. The dead woman wrapped herself in a bath towel and climbed onto the bed. She looked confused. Rest. And I forgot. Refined corpses don't need to sleep. You can do some embroidery. I will grind the medicinal liquid for you to prevent your body from rotting. For the next few days, Ning Fan did not step out of his residence. He was grinding spiritual herbs in the palace and applying them on the female corpse. Although the female corpse did not like intimate actions, she gradually got used to Ning Fan's intimate actions. He held Ning Fan's white robe and embroidered a unique black flower on it. That flower did not belong to the mortal world. Ning Fan had never seen it with his own eyes. He only saw it in ancient Chaos's memory. He remembered that it was called the Adumbra flower. Since the refined corpses had lost their vitality, their wounds would not heal on their own. Ning Fan could only use the medicinal liquid to preserve the wound and refine the female corpses wound in the flame. Then, he used a secret technique to conceal the corpse qi of the corpse devil. At first, the female corpse looked at the heavenly frost and earthly flame with fear. However, after becoming familiar with Ning Fan, she finally plucked up her courage and entered the sea of flames. Her wound gradually healed. She changed into a white robe and no corpse qi could be seen on her. Other than her pale face and pale lips which made her look weak and pitiful, her other actions were not much different from ordinary people. Her long black hair was combed to one side by herself. The silver needles were also kept in her sleeves as a weapon. If she did not speak, no one would suspect her identity. If she did not use force, no one would know that she was a terrifying corpse devil comparable to a mid-spirit severing realm expert. When Ning Fan led the beautiful female corpse out of the palace, All the female guards' eyes lit up. What an otherworldly woman! Although her eyes were pure, there was a trace of high and mighty respect between her eyebrows, which made people not dare to blaspheme her outstanding beauty. Her holiness was like Si Wuxia, but her purity and indifference was like Mu Weiliang. Congratulations to Master for getting a new concubine. Bing Ling and Yu Ling immediately bowed to Ning Fan. Ning Tiana, Ning Pinger and the other female guards also bowed to Ning Fan in a soft voice. I have stayed in the Pill Cauldron Gate for a long time. You all should return to the Cauldron Ring first. If there is a chance in the future, I will let you all come out for a breather. Yes. He came out of seclusion. After nearly 3 months of seclusion, Ning Fan's strength had increased tremendously again. Intermediate Nascent Magic Force, Early Nascent Demon Force, Peak Silver Bone Body Refinement Realm and Peak Nascent Soul Realm Spirit Sense. He had unlocked the second level of the Yin-Yang transformation and subdued the female corpse with great difficulty. Although the female corpse was unable to control her heart of slaughter and couldn't be considered as a combat power. But if she could be put to good use in the future, Ning Fan would have 2 spirit-severing realm subordinates, Stone Warrior and the female corpse. Xiao Wanluo was still waiting outside the stone chamber for 3 months. When Ning Fan and the female corpse walked out, he immediately went to greet them. But he was immediately shocked. He couldn't see through Ning Fan's current cultivation realm. His aura was heavy and firm. It was completely different from 3 months ago. If he didn't know that this person was the murderous devil Zhou Ming, Xiao Wanluo would have thought that Ning Fan was just an ordinary mortal prince. As for the white-robed female corpse, he couldn't see through her cultivation realm. He just thought that she was one of Ning Fan's cauldron concubines. He knew that Ning Fan's true cultivation realm was only at the mid-nascent soul realm. He had seen Ning Fan breaking through the heavenly tribulation with his own eyes. However, Ning Fan's combat power and techniques were definitely stronger than peak nascent soul realm cultivators. Before he went into seclusion, he was able to defeat Xiang Liao. After that, he comprehended the soul extraction technique. He was afraid that not many cultivators below the spirit-severing realm in the external endless sea could be his match. Congratulations, fellow Taoist Zhou. You're welcome. Ning Fan cupped his fists and smiled. Xiao Wanluo was stunned. Smile. That devil Zhou Ming is smiling. This is really terrifying. Rumor has it that a powerful devil lord could restrain his killing intent at will. The more he smiles, the more it means that his killing intent has been aroused. Xiao Wanluo felt uneasy. Did I offend old devil Zhou Ming with my first sentence? Otherwise, why would this devil lord smile at me? What a freaking creepy smile. Fellow Taoist Zhou, do you have something against me? Xiao Wanluo asked cautiously. No, but fellow Taoist Xiao is waiting outside my stone chamber. Could it be that you have something to ask of me? I do have something to ask of you. I think fellow Taoist Zhou should have already guessed it with your intelligence. I'll be frank with you. I want you to become the old ancestor of my Pill Cauldron Gate. The old ancestor of the Pill Cauldron Gate? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. He initially thought that Xiao Wanluo would only ask him to be a guest elder at most. Unexpectedly, he asked him to be the old ancestor of the Pill Cauldron Gate. What is a guest elder? To put it simply, it's a hired thug of the Pill Cauldron Gate. What is an old ancestor? To put it simply, Xiao Wanluo lowered his seniority and acknowledged Ning Fan as his senior. If word got out that the old ancestor of the Pill Cauldron Gate was not Xiao Wanluo but Ning Fan, no one would dare to offend the Pill Cauldron Gate anymore. But in that case, the Pill Cauldron Gate would have a new master. Fellow Taoist Xiao, could it be that you're joking? Ning Fan looked at Xiao Wanluo meaningfully. What exactly is this Xiao Wanluo trying to achieve by making a half-step grand cultivator lower his status and acknowledge a thief as his father? If the yin-yang locket could eavesdrop on a man's thoughts, Ning Fan was prepared to listen to Xiao Wanluo's thoughts. Fellow Taoist Zhou, please don't misunderstand me. I'm sincerely asking you to be the old ancestor of my Pill Cauldron Gate so that we can get out of our current predicament. I heard that fellow Taoist has a good relationship with Elder Ling. I won't do anything that doesn't bring me any benefits. As for establishing a relationship with me, there's no need for that. Ning Fan said straightforwardly. Of course. Of course, I won't forget about it. Xiao Wanluo's expression did not change, but his heart was filled with pity. It seems like it won't be easy to make Ning Fan help him willingly with his relationship with Ling Giku. First of all, I'll return the tens of millions of immortal jades that fellow Taoists spent on the auction. Secondly, from today onwards, all the cauldrons that our Pill Cauldron Gate train will belong to fellow Taoist alone. Xiao Wanluo paused and observed Ning Fan's expression carefully. However, Ning Fan's expression did not change at all. To a rookie who had just started his cultivation, these two benefits were like two heavenly meat pies that would definitely move his heart. However, to Ning Fan, these two benefits were nothing but empty promises. If I want the immortal jades, killing you will be as easy as taking something out of my pocket. Do I need you to return them to me? As for the cauldrons, I've already taken all the cauldrons in the Pill Cauldron Gate. I'm afraid I'll need at least a few hundred years to nurture another nascent soul realm cauldron. Your promise is just empty talk. If you don't have any sincerity, don't blame me for being merciless. After withdrawing his smile, Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Xiao Wanluo immediately took a few steps back and his forehead was filled with sweat. Fellow Taoist Zhou, don't worry. I haven't finished my words. There's more benefits, the biggest one. Speak. Do you know about the Pleasure Devil sect? It's one of the 10 sections. How could I not know about it? I heard that this sect sells human cauldrons. I was planning to visit this sect a few days ago to buy some human cauldrons. How could I not know about it? Ning Fan withdrew his cold intent and Xiao Wanluo heaved a sigh of relief. He thought that it was not easy to fool this Zhou Ming. That's right. The first two promises were empty promises. The third one was the one that he was confident about moving Ning Fan's heart. However, the price of the third benefit was too great. If it wasn't because he had no other choice, he would never give it to Ning Fan. Fellow Taoist Zhou, you might not know this, but most of the female cauldrons of the Pleasure Devil sect were plundered from the outer Endless Sea. However, most of them were captured from the inner Endless Sea. This sect is very powerful. It is said that one of the 7 venerables of the inner Endless Sea had planted this sect in the outer Endless Sea. The auction of the cauldrons of this sect was divided into 3 levels. The first level was the Gold Core Realm. The second level was the Nascent Soul Realm. The third level was the Grand Cultivator Realm. However, not all Grand Cultivators could enter. Only cultivators with the Pleasure Devil token could enter. Fellow Taoist strength is terrifying. However, if you don't have the token, I'm afraid you won't be able to enter the auction of the Grand Cultivator Realm. That's why you won't be able to buy the cauldron. Oh, is there such a thing? But what does it have to do with me becoming the old ancestor of the Pill Cauldron Realm? Could it be that fellow Taoist has a Pleasure Devil token and is willing to give it to me if I become the old ancestor of the Pill Cauldron Realm? That's right. This token is a token that a half-step Divine Transformation Realm ancestor of my sect obtained from the Pleasure Devil sect countless years ago. If fellow Taoist becomes the old ancestor of my Pill Cauldron Realm, I will certainly give it to you. Moreover, there's another use for this token. If you participate in the auction of the Grand Cultivator Realm with this token, you will be able to get the Mother Earth Nether Milk from the Pleasure Devil sect. Mother Earth Nether Milk. Ning Fan was inwardly surprised. He had heard of this item before. A drop of Mother Earth Nether Milk could increase one's magic power by 10 units. It was extremely rare. If one could get this item with the token, it was no wonder that Xiao Wanluo would feel the pinch when he handed over the Pleasure Devil token. However, what caught Ning Fan's attention was not the Mother Earth Nether Milk but the heart of the Mother Earth. The Mother Earth Nether Milk was the stone milk secreted by the heart of the Mother Earth. Since the Pleasure Devil sect has the Mother Earth Nether Milk, it probably has the heart of the Mother Earth. Rumor has it that a peak nascent soul realm cultivator who consumes the Mother Earth Nether Milk will have a 10% chance of attaining the Divine Transformation Realm. Attaining the Divine Transformation Realm was already very difficult. Increasing the chance by 10% could be said to be heaven-defying. If it has the benefits of the Mother Earth Nether Milk, this Pleasure Devil token would be extremely valuable. However, it was hard for Ning Fan to imagine that the Pleasure Devil sect, which was one of the 10 great sects and was supported by the 7 venerated beings of the Internal Sea, would give the Mother Earth Nether Milk to win over a great cultivator of the External Endless Sea? Is it really necessary? There is no such thing as a free lunch in the world, especially in the External Endless Sea where there is no profit to be had. The holder of this Pleasure Devil token can take a drop of the Mother Earth Nether Milk and participate in the auction of the Pleasure Devil sect with the identity of the old ancestor of the Pill Cauldron sect. However, this drop of Mother Earth Nether Milk was probably not given for free. It was likely that the sect had some requirements for the holder of the token and the holder would have to pay a certain price. Ning Fan's eyes flashed and he stared at Xiao Wanluo deeply. This Xiao Wanluo must have only said good things. He kept the bad things to himself. You didn't finish your sentence. I'm afraid that the holder of the Pleasure Devil token will have to fulfill some obligations, right? Look at my memory. I was confused and forgot to tell you. Indeed, the benefits of holding this token are not small. You can get a drop of Mother Earth Nether Milk. However, once you arrive at the Pleasure Devil sect, you must listen to the sect's instructions and enter the secret realm of the Broken World to collect some small items as part of your mission. The mission is indeed dangerous, but if you are careful, it won't be difficult to complete it. Even if you fail the mission, it doesn't matter. That drop of Mother Earth Nether Milk is really a free gift. Xiao Wanluo chuckled, but his forehead was full of sweat. He could not hide anything from Ning Fan even if he wanted to. This Ning Fan was not easy to fool. I will judge whether it's dangerous or not. However, it's not a reason for you to hide it from me. You may leave now. I will consider this matter. Yes, yes. Xiao Wanluo hurriedly retreated while complaining. It seemed like his untruthful attitude had displeased Ning Fan. In front of Ning Fan, he could not even show the arrogance of a late nascent soul realm cultivator. I hope that Ning Fan can accept the identity of the Pill Cauldron old ancestor. Otherwise Xiao Wanluo will really have to run away. After Xiao Wanluo left, Ning Fan summoned Stone Warrior from the dark and asked him about what Xiao Wanluo said. Stone Warrior naturally told him everything he knew. He didn't lie. The Pleasure Devil sect does have the heart of Mother Earth, and they will give the holder a drop of Mother Earth Nether Milk. The price is to enter the secret realm of the Broken World, hunt demonic beasts and collect demon cores. That secret realm is located at the bottom of the sea of the Pleasure Devil Immortal Island. Only cultivators below the Spirit Severing Realm can enter that place. Wild beast. A wild beast that is comparable to a Spirit Severing Realm cultivator? Entering the secret realm to hunt wild beasts and obtain their demon cores. Isn't this dangerous? It's simply crazy. Ning Fan frowned. Although it's called a wild beast, it's actually different. Speaking of which, that secret realm is really strange. Gold Core Realm demonic beasts can advance to the Spirit Severing Realm after a few hundred years. However, this wild beast demonic power is comparable to that of a Spirit Severing Realm cultivator. However, their demonic techniques, cultivation realms and techniques are only at the Gold Core Realm. If they are peak grand cultivators, they might be able to hunt some of them. Those who enter the secret realm without accomplishing anything will be rewarded with a drop of Mother Earth Nether Milk. If they manage to kill a wild beast and obtain a demon core, they can exchange it for a drop of Mother Earth Nether Milk. Rumor has it that there was once a grand cultivator who killed 11 wild beasts in this secret realm and exchanged 11 demon cores for 11 drops of Mother Earth Nether Milk. His magic power increased by 110 units. If you want to break through to the late nascent soul realm, this secret realm is not a bad choice. False wild beast that only has Spirit Severing Realm magic power but has Gold Core Realm techniques? 1 demon core for 1 drop of Mother Earth Nether Milk. This is a good deal. Other than buying human cauldrons, I can also explore the secret realm. If it's a real wild beast, I will naturally avoid it. However, it's just a false wild beast. It's not difficult to kill it. 1,000 demon cores equals to 1,000 units of magic power. If there's a chance to steal the heart of Mother Earth from the Pleasure Devil sect, it would be the best. However, such a precious item might not even be kept in the external endless sea. It's most likely in the hands of the mysterious 7 venerated beings of the internal endless sea. I don't mind if you want to go to the Pleasure Devil sect. However, what about the thing you promised me? Stone Warrior began to nag again. Don't worry. I will look for Bei Xiaomen before I leave Pai Island. Ning Fan became impatient. He pressed his finger and kept Shibing's magical gemstone puppet. In just a few moments, he had already made up his mind. If he wanted to go to the Pleasure Devil sect and explore the secret realm, he would have to accept Xiao Wanluo's request and go there with his identity as the Pill Cauldron Old Ancestor. At the moment when he kept the gemstone puppet, Stone Warrior glanced at the female corpse. All of a sudden, her eyes flashed with displeasure. She did not like being spied on by men other than Ning Fan. Her gaze made Shibing's stone body tremble. Stone Warrior was puzzled, fearful and shocked. This woman doesn't have a trace of magic power. Why do I feel such a terrifying aura? Could it be that she is a mid-spirit severing realm expert? That Zhou Ming has tamed another middle-stage soul formation fighter? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.